All right. We're getting to have a real emergency over here. It's taken a while to get my car back to me, so I haven't been able to go out and get groceries. We are out of coffee in the house. I repeat, we are out of coffee in the house. This is a caffeine-free stream. This is not good. DEFCON 1. Drink tea, you degenerate? I don't know if we have tea. Not really a tea guy myself. Dude, I was like ergo maxing last stream. Dude, look at my posture now. I'm fucking... what's the posture equivalent of mewing? My fucking neurons are aligned. Holy shit, howdy. Mm. If only, Thana. Oh, dude. My back feels pretty good, though, honest to God. I'm surprised by how quickly it's recovered. AOC endorsed, so you were wrong. Well, actually, I think it's AOC endorsed, so I'm correct. But often am I happy to be right. Lately, less so than normal. Happy to be right on this one, you know? I was confident on this. Ever since I realized that she didn't endorse the previous New York City mayoral candidate until basically this exact time. To me, to my mind, that's a little late, right? Like less than a month before the election. But, you know, I'm not a politics expert, so I'll defer to her and her team on the subject. Politics is dumb and gay. That is true. No, we got it. Hold on. I'm de-blocking the article. One sec. We got it. And by we, I mean Mamdani. But frankly, I've always considered Mamdani to be like a brother of mine. You know? I've always considered Mamdani to basically be like, you know, it's like we're related. So we, when I say we, I mean, you know. You want to compound the tension, essentially. That's my guess. Like, a lot of people won't be tuning in to the New York City mayoral primary until the debate anyway. So you want to take advantage of the attention that he got during the debate to hop in on it and compound. There's like a multiplicative factor. It's better to have an overwhelming wave of news all at once um, than it is to kind of drip feed support. What would you do for the rest of the ranking on the ballot? I honestly, I don't give a shit. I don't care. It's Mamdani or nothing as far as I'm concerned. I know there are other fine candidates there, but I'm really fucking invested in Mamdani. You're Indian Ugandan? All men are brothers. Wake up. They're both so goddamn young, man. That could be around for a long time. It's a shame that Mamdani's not eligible to be president, though I do wonder if eventually that rule is going to be struck down, because it's always been really stupid. You should not need to be a born U.S. citizen to be president. That's dumb. That contradicts all the other rules we have. Zoran said thank you. AOC is a once-in-a-generation leader who's led the fight for working people in Congress. In 2018, she shocked the world and transformed our politics. On June 28th, with AOC's support and this movement behind us, we will do the same. Pog. Did you see the grossly misleading New York Post article on Mamdani? I've seen several grossly misleading articles on Mamdani, some of which have been from the New York Post. Is there another one? That wouldn't surprise me. It's a hit the right news rag. A second smear has hit the Mamdani. Far more than two. Far more than two. New York Post misquoted Mamdani as saying Israel doesn't have a right to exist. Yeah, that jump, for those of you who didn't see the debate yesterday, that jump at the end of the debate, everything was going like really well. The moderators were, I think, being pretty good, in my opinion. And then right at the end, when they were doing like lightning round questions to the effect of like, hey, what's your favorite pizza joint? Hey, you New Yorker, what's your favorite pizza joint? One lady from the moderator panel was like, hey, quick question, Mamdani, you think Israel has a right to exist? Okay, all right, do you think it has a right to exist as a Jewish state? Do you think that it should be an ethno-religious state? Do you think that it should continue to be an ethno-religious state? Do you like genocide, Mamdani? And a bunch of people got upset with him for saying that he wants Israel to exist as a state with equal rights, which, you know, I thought we were supposed to pretend to support, but here's the moment. Yeah, and weirdly, during that altercation between him and the moderators, there was a weird audio cutout, and the audio was desynced for the rest of the video. I'm not being conspiratorial or anything. It's just really funny that would happen during the one weird, like, blip, you know?
And would you visit Israel?
No,
as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not as a Jewish state?
As a state with equal rights.
He won't say it has a right to exist.
Sorry, Mamdani. It's not enough that you, a candidate for New York City mayor, have an opinion on the continued existence of an apartheid genocidal ethno-state on the other side of the world. You need to explicitly say you endorse the ethno-state part of it.
The Jewish state, be very
and
clear.
his answer was no, he won't visit Israel.
Cuomo's like, we got this guy. We got this guy. This guy doesn't like genocide. This guy doesn't like ethno-states. Get him.
So
that's what he was trying to say.
No. Unlike you, I answer questions very directly.
All right,
and I want to be very clear. I believe every state should be a state of equal rights.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Blake.
To be fair, the Dem primary base does love genocide. Nah, don't let them gaslight you, man. The average Democrat doesn't like Israel. It's seriously a leadership problem. The average Democratic voter has been shifted way away from Israel over the past couple of years. It's literally just like, it's just the insane fucking, like, top-level bias from MIC adjacent consultants and, you know, NYC policy wonks. Did this have the cutout? There was like an audio desync after this. Maybe it wasn't in this feed or this recording. I think it was the political lady. Somebody said it was the MSNBC lady who said it. I didn't actually catch it. I can't tell women apart. I'm sorry.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel?
See, she jumped. There wasn't even... The question was, what would be the first country you visit if you were New York City mayor? You know? Like in a diplomatic visit. And 3 other people said Israel, of course. And Mamdani said, well, I'll stay in NYC. I've got work to do here. And then she's specifically like, no. Will you visit Israel? Well, if he visited Israel, the IDF would probably kill him, so...
No, as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be...
What's that cut? See, they cut right here. Why do they cut right there?
Be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers. No,
as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across...
Weird shit, man. Does the mayor of New York do diplomatic trips to foreign countries? Yeah, it's happened. Him specifically asking him about Israel, though, is really fucking weird. No one else got that question. That edit-looking thing might help him with voters. Dude, you know what I think will help him with voters? The fact that he's literally, in this answer, being attacked by other people who are running for mayor for saying he wants Israel to be a state that promises equal rights to all. Like, the mask has fallen so completely. We're even answering like, yeah, I want Israel to be like a free democratic state with equal rights. And people are like, oh, you fucking anti-Semite. Wrong answer, dipshit. It's supposed to be like Rhodesia. Fuck you. Like, like, okay. In the section that's cut out, he says, I believe you don't have to visit Israel to champion Jewish New Yorkers. It's a weird thing to edit out. Yeah, it's a weird coordinated smear job. You still get a bit of it, though, from his answer here, where he's like, well, you know, I'd visit Jewish New Yorkers wherever they may be to represent them in my constituency.
No,
as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples.
I feel like cutting out the beginning of this answer makes it seem like he's dodging the question, when in reality he answered it directly, and he said, no, I'll be staying here in New York. I don't feel I need to go to Israel to represent my constituents. But here it kind of sounds like he's being a little evasive. But if you're going to do that, why not just do the, like, why not just cut it out so he says, like, I am Hitler. Like, why not? Like, I mean, if we're going to do that, we might as well play that game. Yeah, just YouTube poop it. Really, though, I do hope... I mean, the debate went well, you know? I hope as many people get a taste of it as possible. I wonder if AOC's close association with Mamdani, along with the endorsement, is going to get the DSA to re-endorse her. Because the DSA really fucked up by unendorsing her. They really condemned themselves to potential irrelevance. You know? In the long run, that's like a pretty bad tie cut. Yeah, same, Dana. Brad Lander bragging that AOC endorsed him. Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty funny. AOC endorsed Brad Lander as her 3rd pick, but he was like, thank you for endorsing me for mayor. You get it. It's funny. Do you think the comment about Obama that Cuomo brought up will hurt him? What was it? Did he say, what was he? He said like shuck and jive or something? What was the, what was the fucking quote? No, that Obama was evil? Well, that's what Mamdani said. But Cuomo had his own Obama quote. Also, Obama is evil and a liar. That's not fake. That's true. I'm slightly concerned Black NYC voters might vote for Adams over Mamdani. No, they're going to vote for Cuomo. Based on the early polling, Black voters are overwhelmingly favoring Cuomo. Hopefully that imbalance gets corrected for a little bit. But yeah, unfortunately, Black Democrats are probably the most conservative racial bloc within the Democrats. The reason for that being, of course, that if you're white or to an extent Asian or Latino, right? If you're really like reactionary, you can vote for the Republicans. But the Republicans hate Black people so much that as a Black person, even if you're pretty reactionary, you're still with the Democratic caucus. Does that make sense? Like, if you're a white reactionary, it's so easy to be Republican. So they get filtered, basically. So the white people who are left in the Democratic base are disproportionately progressive. Blake was referring to a radio interview where Cuomo, who was supporting Hillary Clinton in the Democratic presidential primary, said, frankly, you can't buy your way into it. You can't shuck and jive at a press conference. You can't just put off reporters. That's fucking incredible, dude. That's amazing. Seems racist to me. Really? You think so? Any interest in the poly market? No. I don't understand why people look at the poly market. The poly market is literally just what people are gambling for. Have you seen how many poly market election gambling results or whatever have been like very confident up until 8 seconds before the election? And then they switch? Like, I don't know why people treat it like it's a predictive market. It's not a predictive market. It's gambling. I can't believe she endorsed him. Holy shit, crash out time. Okay, maybe you just got here. This is fake news. AOC endorsed Mamdani. Sorry. If you just you tune into the stream, you hit the play button, you see this right up here. That's why they made this image, right? To confuse you. This is the truth. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about Elon in a second. Don't you worry. We're getting the good news out of the way before we get to the gooder news. All right? Yeah. Okay, hold your horses with the links. You'll get to post them in a second. Jesus. I really think this might be our only hope. We are so close to the Democratic Party falling into permanent irrelevancy. There are time limits to these things, okay? And frankly, we're already way behind on it. There needs to be some glimmer, some energy. It's clearly not going to come from the top down, okay? If AOC and Mamdani play their cards right, they could reset the party. It would take a while, and it would be difficult, and it would be a partial victory, not a full one. But there's potential here. If they lead with a popular mandate, they could inspire other people in the Democratic Party who are spineless but altogether not that evil to be better. They might even be able to convince people like Hakeem Jeffries to change their tune just a little bit. Not going to move Schumer, but if Hakeem Jeffries could be convinced that there's some better way of managing things than, well, the way he's currently managing them, some value in populist appeal. Maybe something could come of that. God, I hope he wins. Would David Hogg be the same sort of line? David Hogg had the right idea, but unfortunately, for one, he's out, and for two, he never commanded the public interest. He's not a politician. He was a bureaucrat. So he never had this, this huge mandate. Here, 1 second. I have to follow through on this because otherwise people will walk all over me. You understand, right? There we go. You understand. It's a matter of principle. It's a matter of principle. Wait, Hogg is out. I thought it was just threatened. I mean, have they finished doing the re-election? Yeah, they're still doing the election, but it's pretty obvious what the outcome is going to be. Trying to see. Who has been serving as one of the 5 vice chairs. Yeah. Okay, yeah, he's still... They're still in the turmoil, but I feel like it's kind of a done deal. They definitely want his ass out. And that's just insider, nothing we can do? Well, he's not a politician. Yeah, it's DNC insider shit. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, you people are distracting me. No self-control. None whatsoever. All right. Elon quote, pedophile Musk. What's up, man? Slash replies, sort by new. What do we got? Pinned to the top, is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald Trump. All right. I'm only human. Trump fires back at Elon. Trump says Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy. Retweeting what Elon Musk is doing is genuinely heroic. This is what he said about Jared, not Jared Fogels, Jared Isaacman. I don't know. Congress is spending America into bankruptcy. Super agree with this guy saying Congress has to stop the out-of-control deficit spending. Where's the John Thune of 2020? Oh, man.
Things are happening in this room. And I'll tell you, he's not the first. People leave my administration and they love us. And then at some point they miss it so badly. And some of them embrace it and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. But we have it with others, too. They leave, and they wake up in the morning, and the glamour's gone. The whole world is different, and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it, and you'll let us know. Yeah.
The funny thing is that in the context of this split between the two, Elon is objectively in the right. Assuming Elon is a massive retard and actually believed the reason he was coming on board was to cut deficit spending, it is factually correct that he was brought on board with that mission, you know, nominally, and then the Republicans didn't codify those cuts and went ahead and did, like, massive deficit spending anyway. That is true. That is correct. Incredible. They should have checked beforehand and make sure that Elon was smart enough to play ball. Without me, Trump would have lost the election, Dems would control the House, and Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude. From Elon, oh, and some food for thought as they ponder this question. Trump has 3.5 years left as president, but I will be around for 40-plus years. Well, not with that drug habit, buddy, and that gut. But, you know. Yeah, it's incredible, you know? They brought Elon on board because they're corrupt and they wanted his money. They didn't make sure beforehand that Elon was corrupt enough to play ball. They didn't understand. It didn't occur to them that unlike everyone else in the administration, he values his ego above his wealth, as demonstrated by the fact that if I'm correct, his Tesla share price should be plummeting right now. Yep, down 17%! Well, I guess that's what happens when you attack a president who's known for being vindictive to companies that speak out against him. Well. Can somebody explain to me why Elon was the first person brave enough to just accuse Trump of being an Epstein-associated pedophile when the Democrats couldn't? Don't you think it'd be good of Democrats to jump on this? What are the odds that Democrat leaders defend Trump against Elon? Probably just because Elon has a different island. Dude, unironically, Elon would not have been invited to Little St. James for the same reason that Elon wasn't picked for dodgeball. It was like a hedonistic pedophile billionaire social club party. It's like the cool kids club for billionaire pedophiles. Why would they invite him? He got booted from PayPal for a reason. Yep. He's really committing to this. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. Isn't Elon also implicated in the Epstein files? No, like I said, he's not associated at all. There's a photo of him with Ghislaine Maxwell, but there's no actual evidence he's ever associated with Epstein. Totally different crowd. Epstein's like New York politics, you know, cultural influencers type. But Elon came in too late. And he's more of like a Silicon Valley tech guy type, not the same crowd. Trying to get in on this trend early, Elon didn't kill himself. The info in this video is going to be out of date, but let's see how it's covered.
We've been watching President Trump in the Oval Office with the German Chancellor, and a lot to get to here.
Oh,
but
yeah.
The most
yeah.
interesting and perhaps important issue, political issue and policy issue, is what President Trump said about his now former friend, at least it seems, Elon Musk. And I want to go to Elena Treen at the White House. Elena, it seems as though we saw kind of the unraveling of a bromance real time. And what our viewers saw...
Bromance doesn't just mean when guys are friends. Women, don't fucking colonize that word.
...was what it turned out to be one side of a fight. The other side was Elon Musk real time using his platform X to respond and kind of push back on many of the things that President Trump said. We're going to show our viewers what happened, but I want you to kind of give a sense of what brought us to this extraordinary moment just a few days.
It's so bad that they're also covering it the way you just scroll through the feed. Literally on CNN, they're just like, fuck it, dude. Just share the window and scroll down.
After he gave a big glowing goodbye to Elon Musk from the White House.
Yeah, it's not even a week, Dana, since we saw them both praise each other from the Oval Office.
Jesus, 122,000 likes on the Epstein file tweet 16 minutes after it was posted. Who's liking that? I mean, a lot of people are just drama mongers. I wonder if a lot of Trump's core supporter base, which is like disaffected, emotionally stunted incel neo-Nazis, I wonder if they would be willing to turn on Trump over nothing just because they thought it was funny. Like, a lot of people might like Trump the same way that people like Keemstar, right? Where there will be hardcore Keemstar defenders, but then they'll turn around and say, well, Keemstar is like a bald retard the moment it's convenient, because they just enjoy, or like Reuters go after Nick Fuentes all the time, right? Like, it's a very fair weather friendship because it's not based out of principles. It's based out of the enjoyment of being cruel to people that you don't like. And if it pays to be cruel to the person you liked 5 minutes ago.
Later now, and actually the first time reporters are actually having the opportunity to ask the president about this since that moment. We're now seeing this completely fraying relationship on full display. It's very remarkable, given just how close I know, my colleagues here at the White House, and I know that the president and Musk have been for months now, really him being one of the president's favorite people on this White House complex. I want to give you a sense just of some of the key things I took away from the president's comments. Overall, though, I would note as well that his tone was strikingly somber when discussing this, and really you could see that it saddened him almost. You could see kind of the emotion in his tone and on his face as he was discussing this. He said, quote, "I've always liked Elon." He said I was very surprised. He said he would have rather had him criticize him directly rather than the spending bill that the president has been working tirelessly with his team to try and muscle through.
Yeah, let me get those clips. Hold on.
But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem. And he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars.
This is, I'm almost certain, a complete lie. I don't think anyone actually got to read the big beautiful bill. Maybe a few, like a few of the staff or some of the people in the House did, but Elon definitely didn't. And I don't think Elon actually made much of a public fuss about the EV mandate being cut at all.
And it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, it became a little bit different. And
I'm pretty sure Elon tweeted about him not being able to read the bill before. No, I just think it's insane that Elon is actually like in the right here, like morally and factually. It must be, it's probably doesn't happen to him very often, but incredibly, yeah, in this specific interaction, he's unambiguously in the right.
I understand that, but he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon.
I just have this very ominous feeling that Democrats are going to step in and defend Trump and say, like, we don't appreciate this oligarch attacking the democratic process. Haven't you done enough damage, Elon? Like, the one time they're going to use this as a wedge issue, they're going to do it in the wrong direction, you know?
Mr. President, I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you privately before he raised them publicly? And this is the guy...
Weird place to cut the clip, but thankfully there's more clips.
World War II, we've done a great job. Elon knew that. Elon endorsed me very strongly. He actually went up in campaign for me. I think I would have won. Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway, even if the governor ran, the real governor, not the governor from Minnesota, he's a sick puppy, that guy. That poor guy, I feel sorry for him. But they made a bad choice with him.
Does Elon not know the intention was to crash the economy? Genuinely, honestly, it seems like no. It seems like he actually was stupid enough. Like, we're talking, like, to have his power and to not understand what's going on here, genuinely, we're talking multiple standards of deviation below normal IQ. To not understand that you're being brought in to gut the government, provide a pretext to fill the administrative state with loyalists and scrape Americans' data so it can be fed over to Palantir. The fact that he would do all of that and sincerely believe he was there to cut the budget, unbelievable. Genuinely unbelievable. Like, it's shocking. It's shocking. It's blackpilling, to be honest with you. It's much easier to believe a world where these people are evil and competent than a world in which the most powerful men on Earth are that stupid and have no idea how the game they're playing and winning at is played.
But if you pick Shapiro or anybody else, I spoke to him recently about his house being set on fire, which was terrible. But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill. And if you, I'm sure that'll be next.
Mr. President, I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you privately before he raised them publicly? And this is the guy you put in charge of cutting spending. Should people not take him seriously about spending now? Are you saying this is all sour grapes?
No, he worked hard and he did a good job. And I'll be honest, I think he misses the place. I think he got out there and all of a sudden...
It's almost scarier the Trump admin was willing to let millions of jobs and programs get cut, not to make it permanent, but rather as a token gesture to Elon for his dono money. Well, part of it was a token gesture to Elon to get his dono money, but part of it was also that they were looking for an excuse to fill these administrative branches with loyalists, right? Like, even if a lot of the people who were fired got rehired, Doge did essentially put, like, a czar in control of all of these administrative departments, right? Like they all, now they're full of, yeah, they didn't just get rid of the secretary positions, the cabinet heads or whatever. They got rid of like a ton of people on the top, you know? Doge was literally sending like private security in to muscle people out of their offices and replace them with hardcore loyalists who aren't accountable to anyone. In many cases, who are like basically anonymous to the public. So they used Elon to further like the collapse of this country. Elon was just dumb enough to believe it was actually about cost cutting, which is, again, insane. Like, I genuinely, to be operating at that level and not understand that the Republicans are going to continue to raise the deficit, unbelievable. But
he wasn't in this beautiful Oval Office, and he's got nice offices too. But there's something about this one. I was telling the Chancellor, this is where it is. People come in here, even from Germany. They come in and they walk into the Oval Office, and it's just a special place. It's, you know, World War I, it started and it ended here, and World War II, and so many other things. Everything big comes right from this beautiful space. It's now much more beautiful than it was 6 months ago.
Man, he really is lost, isn't he? In his first term, he would be like tearing Elon limb from limb right now, but he's just got Grandpa talking about the upholstery again.
A lot of good things are happening in this room, and I'll tell you, he's not the first. People leave my administration, and they love us, and then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it, and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. But we have it with others, too. They leave.
We saw this bit as well.
And they wake up in the morning, and the glamour's gone. The whole world is different, and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it, and you'll let us know. Yeah.
Mr. President, speaking of ending war.
Incredible. Yeah, like 8 years ago, I feel like Elon would get trashed in any PR battle against Trump. But in the current environment, also considering the fact that Elon literally owns one of the major social media companies, like himself, yeah, I don't know. Elon might actually take a significant chunk out of the Republican Party with this one. Like, potentially. Not necessarily immediately, but potentially he could take a big bite out of it. He could actually win. Isn't that a good thing for us? Yes! Are you kidding? It's perfect. Elon's powerful enough to actually, like, uproot some of the GOP cultural majority, but he's too stupid to take advantage of it and, like, meaningfully lead a political movement. You know? The closest thing he has to a political movement is an army of blue checks who get, you know, monthly payouts for agreeing with him. It's almost at 200,000 likes. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Trump is threatening to cut Elon's contracts. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. You know what? Yeah, I was surprised that Biden didn't do it, even after it was very obvious that Elon was working to uproot our democracy. It was very strange that he kept those contracts, even though those would have required some degree of, like, you know, security trust in him, and he's the most untrustworthy human being on Earth. You know, it's true. He's getting outflanked. Biden's evil. What, are you shocked? Yeah, he's evil, but he's not pro Elon Musk. Just weak, I suppose. This is so fucking funny. If Trump cuts his contracts, Elon's going to go scorched earth. I mean, the real question is, like, will Elon be deterred by Tesla's stock price plummeting? Because it is currently plummeting. Did the White House take down the transcript of the Musk-Trump interview on Hannity? What? Well, I wouldn't know that. That's from Jeff Stein, from the Washington Post. Are they already purging the records?
I think that we've got this enormous federal budget deficit, and it's a $2 trillion deficit. It keeps growing. Our interest payments are higher than our Defense Department budget.
I can't fucking believe the Republican Party is so bad that I'm being forced to agree with something, or agree on something with Musk.
I think was the real wake-up call for me, was looking at seeing that the interest payments on national debt exceeded the Defense Department budget. And that was only growing over time, which meant if we didn't do something about this, then there won't be any money for anything. We'll just be servicing debt.
And you know how to read an income statement, and you know how to read a balance sheet. You've had some business experience. I'm kidding, but
yeah,
you know about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, I just don't want America to go bankrupt.
So, did you not recognize that was a joke, Elon? Did you not recognize he was, like, teeing you up for a bit? Like, he was understating your experience with financial matters and that you could have, like, played into that with a laugh? No, he didn't? That just went right over your head? Sorry, I'm being ableist.
Oh, it's a call to action. You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
You giving up your other stuff? I mean, how are you running your other businesses?
With great difficulty.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean...
But there's no turning back, you're saying?
I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste and fraud, and...
I can't fucking believe that one of the most powerful people on the planet is actually just a fucking retard. I can't. It hurts me so much. He's like a fucking baby. He's like crying. He can't answer anything. He's all emotional. He's like a fucking teenager all the time. It's so embarrassing to have this guy as one of the like big enemies. You know what I mean? Like you've got like the humanity's most wanted list slapped right up on the top of there, and you have like a weird, sickly, fat baby, cry baby, fat idiot guy. Like, oh yeah, that guy. That's the guy. That's the guy who stole the 2024 election. That's the guy who's worth more than anyone else on earth. It's that guy right there. Yes, the fat idiot piss baby. That's my nemesis. Please do not judge me by my enemies. What sucks even more is that we didn't get Trump in the divorce. I didn't want Elon. Yeah, unironically, if somebody was going to do like a heel turn and pivot away from the GOP, I'd rather it be Trump than Elon. At least Trump is funny. Elon has never told a funny joke. Not once. He's tried so many times. He has never made anyone laugh. He's so unfunny. You think they'll call Elon a Nazi now? Nah, they'll call him anti-white. Can we talk about the fact that Elon admitted in his tweet that he and his money won the Republicans the election and no one's talking about it? Didn't we all already agree on that, though? Like, he spent $250 million and used Twitter, which cost him $40 billion as, like, a platform for spreading disinfo. Like, yeah, obviously, he bought the election. If Elon never did that heel turn back in 2022 after the story released that he sexually harassed one of his employees, the election would have gone to Kamala Harris, without a doubt. Absolutely. They could do the funniest thing and deport him for overstaying his student visa. True. Democrats eye a villain to ally arc for Elon Musk. Honestly, they would be stupid not to take advantage of it. It's sickening, but it's like in this environment, they're obviously going to try their best to do it. It'd be dumb for them not to. Ro Khanna's going to Elon now? Well, I could have told you that. Ro Khanna's always had a close relationship with Elon. We can be the party of sanctimonious lectures, the party of FDR that knows how to win and build a progressive majority. Okay, I do not endorse this rhetoric at all. trying to convince Elon to go anti-GOP out of spite has nothing to do with building a progressive majority, okay? Elon is a massive piece of shit and always will be, okay? Nothing good should happen to him. Like, cynically weaponizing his emotional outbursts against the GOP is not building a progressive tent, okay? Just watch Rokan on the Adam Freeland show, dude is black. He's a bit of an opportunist, that's for sure. Well, kind of an ongoing story, huh? Could end up being one of the most liked tweets in Twitter history. Opportunist in a good way or bad way? I mean, being an opportunist kind of is both good and bad, right? It's very much like a double-edged sword. Breaking a convoy of Cybertrucks filled with muskites heading for Washington, D.C. Elon unfollowed Charlie Kirk. Oh no! It's happening! And the cracks begin to show. Oh no! Also unfollowed Stephen Miller. Shit, dude. Yeah, it's over. The unfollow's coming out? This is so stupid. Yeah, well, they're stupid, so. Elon followed Bernie Sanders. I think that Elon's probably going to try to drum up energy for a third party that's going to go nowhere, but is mostly going to just galvanize people against the GOP. And the people who are pushed in that direction will be 50% like very cynical opportunist Democrats, and the other 50% will be like libertarian adjacent tech bros who voted for Trump because they thought he was epic and that Bitcoins are epic, but are willing to follow Musk anywhere. The core GOP base will not be rattled by this at all. You mean rural retards? Yeah, well, they don't have internet, so they don't know this is all going on. That was a joke. Don't get mad at me. Is there any coverage of this on Fox? Probably not, right? This is the sort of thing... This is the sort of thing they would be like, let's not talk about this unless we absolutely have to. We got something. We have two videos talking about it, though not, seemingly not very extensively. Hold on, I want to see the framing here. This is big.
Meanwhile, here back home, everyone is wondering, is the big, beautiful bill going to be passed? And one of the people is an ally of the president, Elon Musk. He said this on Wednesday. Call your senators, call your congressmen. Bankrupting America is not okay. He's advocating to kill the bill, Ainsley.
Then there's an article in the Wall Street Journal.
Elon has flat out threatened to primary Republicans who vote for it, by the way, in the Senate.
This morning that says
not himself, but the fun primary challengers.
Trump is losing patience with Musk's outburst over the mega bill. They write, a senior White House official said Trump wasn't happy about Musk's decision to lambast his signature legislation, describing the president as confused as to why the Tesla chief executive decided to ratchet up his criticism after working so closely with the president for 4 months. The official said senior Trump advisors were caught off guard by Musk's latest offensive.
Couple of things. There's some speculation.
Hot from Kanye's desk. Bros, please no. 2 guys hugging emoji. We love you both so much. Gotcha. Thank you, Kanye. Didn't Kanye forsake anti-Semitism forever for the 18th time, like a couple weeks ago? Maybe he's all about love and peace now.
He's upset that his pick for NASA, to run NASA, was not confirmed. He went with somebody else.
The green card credit as well.
And he's upset about the tax subsidy for electric cars. But keep in mind.
Yeah, okay. They're being dishonest about it too. Elon is not talking about the EV credit thing. That is not the reason Elon is upset. Elon is upset about the failure to codify the Doge cuts. They're just taking that misinfo. That's what that's probably the line they're going to run with, which is like, well, the only reason Elon Musk is upset is because he's greedy and he doesn't like the fact that we saved money by cutting EV subsidies. Elon Musk is wokely demanding the government spend your tax dollars on subsidizing electric vehicles. That's going to be their line. The problem with that rhetoric is that Elon is a Nazi. So the Elon is woke angle is a really, really difficult one to, you know, to balance on. Serious question. Does this increase or lower the chance of the one big beautiful bill passing? This decreases it, which we should all be thankful for because that bill is apocalyptic.
This bill is really not a spending bill. They're trying to make the tax cuts permanent, build up the military.
It spends trillions. It increases our debt by trillions.
And build up the border. Those are pretty much what President Trump ran on. He's got between 600 and 800 billion in cuts. Senator Josh Hawley says too much cuts to Medicaid. Some Republicans like Rand Paul go, not enough cuts to Medicaid. Same thing with the House. Same thing with Susan College. Too much cuts to Medicaid. Ron Johnson, not enough cuts to Medicaid. So the president...
Bad for accelerations, though. Listen, I want the economic conditions to advance to a point that it destabilizes the regime. The one big beautiful bill is bad. Leaving aside the whole, like, 13 million people losing their health insurance thing, among other things, right? The inability for states to regulate AI for a decade. I mean, there are a lot of things in there that aren't just like, yippee, we're accelerating the conditions, but are more like we're stabilizing the conditions towards indefinite evil. That's the problem, right? Like there's kind of a fine line there. What destructive changes actually bring us closer to some kind of reckoning and which ones are like, well, no, actually, this just like sets us down the wrong path forever.
Has got to run this orchestra along with the speaker and majority leader. It is not his option to sit in the sideline and snipe. I can't believe Musk doesn't understand
the problem with that Musk is running into is that he's done a lot of this with a lot of his companies where he's the ultimate decision maker. He doesn't have to go to, different congressmen from different states.
It is hilarious to use this argument when the entire point of this administration is the unitary executive theory. Like the entire argument they're making against judicial federal injunctions is like, well, the president should get to decide all this stuff on his own because he won by the overwhelming mandate of like 5 votes.
To get approval.
You don't get it, guys, okay? Elon's just too undemocratic to appreciate what Trump's going for here.
And so he thought when he became the head of Doge under the leadership of the president, when he did all these cuts, that they were going to be permanent because he did all the work there. Well, the government just doesn't work
well,
that way.
There can also be a second reconciliation.
It does? If the GOP was actually sincere about wanting to like reduce the size of the administrative state, they could have codified those cuts 100%. Yeah, that it does work that way. Oh, Alex Jones is jumping in. Elon says Trump is in the Epstein files, which like obviously, right? Alex Jones, God help us all. That's great, man. Wait, that was Contra. I can't wait for a new video next year.
Bill, if they're not happy with how this one goes, there could also be changes to the budget in September. But you have the head of the Senate, head in the House. You have John Thune and Speaker Johnson reacting to this. Listen.
We're a long ways down this track, and we realize that this is a bill that the House spent a lot of time analyzing. I think we've said we've had like 18 different meetings now with the Senate Finance Committee. and we're committed to making a law that will make the lives of the American people better. And so we are moving forward, and I'm hopeful that at the end we'll have 51 votes in the Senate.
We don't have time for a brand new bill, and I want Elon and all my friends to recognize the complexity of what we've accomplished here. This extraordinary piece of legislation. We're proud of this product. The House Republicans are proud of it, and we're happy to go out and explain that to everybody.
By the way, I think that they're betting on the growth. They bet if you give people more of their own money, if you put investment into these sectors, especially when it comes to energy, this country will grow more than the 1.8% the Office of Management and Budget thinks it will. So right now, the nonprofit CBO, they say nonpartisan, CBO says we're only going to grow 1.8%. It's going to add X amount to the deficit. Not if everything goes the way it did last time. You can get the growth necessary to work on the deficit down the line.
The CBO.
I mean, if anything, they're making Elon's point here, which is the reason why our debt and our debt to GDP ratio, you know, the reason why it all keeps going up and up and up is because the argument is always, well, don't worry, guys. We'll just keep growing the economy infinitely, and the economy will always be big enough that the amount we grow our debt by doesn't become a problem. Trust me, there's no way our interest payments outscale our economic growth by enough. Also, we're cutting taxes, so our government benefits less from the increased GDP. It gets less revenue from it. You know, don't worry, it's all going to be fine. We know the interest payments have nearly tripled in the past 5 years, okay? But trust me, I'm sure that the economy also tripled in the last 5 years. Don't look at those numbers, okay? Don't look at U.S. tax revenue over the past several years. Just trust me.
Also, to your point, Brian, they don't include the tariffs, and they also don't include the cuts that were made.
We made $69 billion in tariffs so far.
Exactly right. So they're not including that when they scored this bill.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Steve Ducey. That's not the only Fox News video. This one's more recent. Oh, this isn't the one I was looking for. This is the one I was looking for.
All right, we are getting some reaction to the back and forth with Elon Musk and President Trump. President Trump has now responded to Elon Musk on his Truth Social account, and he posted this. Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy. John, there are more coming in after that, but this is obviously a clear response to Elon Musk, who's been tweeting away since the president's words in the Oval Office in the noon hour.
Yeah, more from President Trump on Truth Social, including this. And this really, I mean, this is Lexington and Concord here. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. One of those contracts is a contract worth about $15 billion between SpaceX and NASA. And, of course, SpaceX is sending supplies up to the International Space Station, the whole Starship.
Yeah, the energy in the room isn't the same because this is one of the rare times where they probably don't have a very clear understanding of what they're supposed to say, right? Like all the Fox News hosts, they know what their line is. They're given the talking points and everything, but they know this is like actually potentially a pretty difficult situation for them. So they're like, they're reading their little brief, their hands are shaking. Things have happened, and we may have opinions on them.
Project. I mean, do you ever watch those old Bugs Bunny cartoons?
Yes.
Yeah, where Bugs Bunny said, I guess you know, this means war. Yeah, I think that's where we are right now.
You know, I'm looking, and Elon Musk had been pretty busy tweeting away since the president shared his words about their relationship in the Oval Office.
You can tell that they're hedging their bets here, right? You all can hear it in their language. Like they're literally speaking slower. You can tell the way they're talking. They're like, And a lot of it obviously was the insistence that this is too much spending, too much pork. And Elon even chose to post past videos and words of the president
perhaps suggesting that this is a different person than he was before in things that he said.
Dude, the way she's talking is so neutral. Yeah, this is Fox News. It's so funny to hear them like, there may have been a disagreement, and the way that they feel about a certain bill is not the way they perceived each other to think about that bill in the past.
Before, but this is a back and forth that's getting pretty fierce, John.
You know, a lot of people expected that this relationship was not going to last very long, but I don't think a lot of people thought that it would go up in a fireball that rivals the destruction of the Starship in the atmosphere.
Very good. Very good.
And this is probably just the beginning as well. I mean, it's getting ugly. And we'll keep watching this. The president of the United States and the world's richest man, I don't know if they're on speaking terms, but they're sure on social media posting terms, because they are going at each other. Well, I'll leave it for other people to characterize how they're going at each other.
I noticed that they're, in this segment specifically, they're not willing to show what either side is saying. By this point, both sides have said some pretty nasty stuff about one another. They're just mentioning it, but they're playing like a clip show over it. They're not showing. Whereas on CNN, they were just scrolling through Elon's Twitter feed being like, whew, look at that, huh? Guns off screen in case they pull up the Epstein tweet. Dude, unironically. I wonder if they're going to do a media blackout on the Epstein stuff. Like, I wonder if a bunch of news orgs that obviously should be covering it aren't going to cover it. Like, obviously it's big news that Elon, the guy who got Trump the election, is accusing him of being in the Epstein files. A thing we all already knew, but it's still big news. But I bet you there are going to be, like, some media organizations are going to be like, you know what? We were basically told by the powers on high not to talk about this shit, so we're not talking about it. Okay, sorry. Look forward to seeing Substack articles on it. Tesla's stock is rebounding a little bit. I wonder if people are thinking that Elon might actually prevail in this. Because I bet you a large part of the drop here is, for one, Trump likes to engage in retaliation against companies he doesn't like. And two, the potential of him losing his government contracts. But I think that there might be a rebound here because people, I don't know, man. I don't know if Trump can win a PR war at his age. You know what I mean? I don't know if he can't. I don't know if he has the energy. Yeesh. This is unironically the time where we should start squinting at who's on the Starlink and SpaceX boards, who might potentially want to kick Musk out and hand his companies directly to Palantir. That would be quite a coup. That would be pretty impressive. I don't know how much of an overlap there is, though, between, like, obviously Starlink could be of interest. I think that SpaceX probably doesn't have... If we get to the point where Trump effectively starts nationalizing Elon's corporations, that would be insane. I don't think that can happen. That would make the business class too nervous. That would make them way too nervous. Yeah, Starlink's a part of SpaceX, but I mean, like, the company in its entirety. Like, you're talking about nationalizing these companies effectively? That would spook big business, for sure. Elon picked Vance, right? No, one of Trump's kids picked Vance. Was it Don Jr.? Is Don Jr.? Oh, yeah, okay. Yes, Sexiest. I promise you I have seen the tweets. Where is Vance anyway? Dude, who the fuck knows? Failed experiment. Can you vote yes on Musk's tweet? Sure. A People's Socialist Party. Wouldn't it be good for us if they nationalized Elon's companies, thus spook big business? No. one of the weaknesses of fascist regimes historically has been the fact that their success in the long run kind of follows their ability to capitulate to and keep happy the business class, right? They kind of link arms, you know? Once fascist regimes get comfortable enough doing things like nationalizing, it means they don't really have that limitation anymore. At least they're not recognizing it as a limitation. And that's when, you know, they get spooky with it. I don't think it's going to happen anyway. Are you up to speed on Curtis Yarvin and his philosophical influence over this administration? It's pretty relevant when looking at Doge and Palantir. Yeah, did you see that he's a fucking retard? Apparently he got politically radicalized by, what was it? By like John Kerry. What was the bit of misinformation that he freaked out over? Curtis Yarvin, like the rest of them, is a fucking moron. Anyone who belongs to this movement of like solipsistic would-be god emperors who have, you know, a fondness for crypto and AI and very little else, very bad at being a human. These people are all half-wits at best, you know? No, I'm familiar with the recent Yarvin interview or article. Over under on Elon's OD. This could keep him alive for a lot longer, don't you realize? It's giving him a purpose, you know? Oh, he tweeted again.
America. People, we're lucky to have, I have to tell you, I want to thank you all. And Elon, I want to thank you. I know you've been through a lot with this horrible situation that happens.
That's right, saving America.
It's very unfair. What he is a patriot. Here's a man that I can tell you, he's a friend of mine. He's become a friend of mine. He supported me in the election. That's when I got to know him, really. I knew him a little bit from the first term, but not much. But he's a patriot more than anything else. He's never, think of it, he has never asked me for a thing. He could have. I always say, I wonder if he's ever going to ask me for something. And that's always subject to change. And if it does change, I'll let you know about it. But Elon has never asked me for a thing. I mean, I got rid of the electric car mandate. I have no idea how that affects him, but possibly not good. I don't know. But he's never asked me for a thing.
That's fucking funny, dude. Oh my God.
I think that's an amazing tribute. I did get activated last week when I saw what they were doing. I said, he makes an incredible product, and we're going to go out and tell people you can't do that stuff and support him. They got to support him, because if he wasn't doing this, he wouldn't have any of these difficulties. And I think it's getting less and less. Pam has done a great job with regard to all of the, you know, I mean, I know the kind of investigations that are going on. If she finds them, which she will, she already found 4 of them. She will. But I think they're going to suffer very grave consequences, because they're really terrorists when you think about it. They're terrorists at a high level. And I think the people that are financing them, they could very well be people I know, people that you write about. But those people are in big trouble. So they better cut it out. But Elon's a patriot. We want to thank you very much for the job you're doing. Thank you very much.
Incredible stuff, truly. Look, this is an ongoing situation. Let me break this chunk off right here and hand it to my editors. We'll continue to follow it as it develops. 1 second. It's a good title for that. Elon Musk calls Trump a pedophile. Breaking. You have to add breaking because it's new. We used to pray for days like this. Let me send that over. Elon Musk calls Trump something that we all knew all along. I mean, his lack of decorum and political grace are really serving to his advantage here, right? Again, Democrats are afraid to call out Trump's association with Epstein. Ilhan Omar posted about it. Where's that? Somebody linked an Ilhan Omar post? Where the hell is that? Post it again. Thought I clicked on it. What links do I have? Thank you, Thana. Can't believe you went there. Okay. Just checking. Just checking. She posted on Blue Sky. Blue Sky is so fucking boring, man. You see this guy? 22-year-old leading terrorism prevention center at DHS. They got a goddamn 22-year-old. A 22-year-old recent college graduate. I assume he just knows a guy. Hold on. No! God damn it. Let me get the feed. I really want to follow everyone's reactions to this because this shit is incredibly funny. Also, genuinely, like, I want to see how much people hedge their bets, you know? If people were actually confident in Trump's leadership abilities, I feel like this would be a no-brainer for most of the GOP, right? They would go after Elon, they would call him a traitor, they would call him woke, they would tear him limb from limb, you know? But I think the fact, like, we're going to see a lot of bet hedging, and I think that largely, thank you very much, comes down to the fact that everyone knows that he's just kind of like an empty puppet. At least enough people know that he's an empty puppet. Bannon, who's been one of the most vocal critics of Musk for months, said he is advising the president to cancel all of Musk's contracts and launch several investigations into the world's richest man. They should initiate a formal investigation of his immigration status. Oh, they're going to do the thing! Because I am of the strong belief that he is an illegal alien and he should be deported from the country immediately. Let's fucking go! I want this to happen so badly. Under no circumstances do you have to hand it to the DHS, but, well, under one circumstance. What the fuck, I love deportations now. Bannon said the Trump administration should also investigate Musk's drug use, as reported by The Times, and his effort to get a classified briefing on China from the Pentagon. Bannon said Musk's security clearance should be suspended during these investigations. Bannon is probably... Yeah. He's got to be the only influence left, right? New Elon tweet too? Oh, my favorite. Calling for Trump's impeachment. Let's fucking go! From Ian Miles Chong, my preferred source for breaking news. Trump should be impeached and J.D. Vance should replace him. Yes. Where the fuck is J.D. Vance? Retard Wars, the Pedo Chronicles. That would describe all GOP infighting. Here he is quote tweeting himself, presumably. I've always believed something would cause JD Vance to soft coup this admin. Well, I don't think that Elon Musk could meaningfully back JD Vance. Or JD Vance is going to come out against Elon as well, because JD Vance is way more in line with Miller. Like, JD Vance might be backed by Thiel, but he's not like an Elon guy at all, you know? JD Vance is way more aligned with that, you know, again, that like neo-monarchist, fake tradcath, you know, like he's more with Miller. In light of the president's statement about cancellation of my government contract, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. I don't believe him. I don't believe for a moment that he's doing that. If he did, the board at Tesla would probably like push for his removal immediately. Is Vance better or worse if this happens? JD Vance is more dangerous than Trump, but he might not be able to command like a public mandate the way Trump does. There isn't a SpaceX board? Oh shit, you're right. I guess I was thinking of Tesla. Yeah, no, yeah. Still. Is it just me, or did this turnaround happen really quickly? There's been writing on the wall for at least a few weeks. Like, if you want to look at general animosity, you can go back months. But in terms of, like, specifically Elon being upset about the one big beautiful bill, at least a couple weeks of lead up, you know? The fact that Trump has been tweeting about Elon, crap like that, you know? Oh no, he's Epstein posting more. The relation between Trump and Epstein is well established. Yeah. Trump flew on Epstein's plane at least 7 times. Yeah. Though it's not clear he ever went to the island. He definitely did. My favorite quote from Donald Trump. If you talk to Donald Trump, a different Epstein emerges. Quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy, Trump booms from a speakerphone. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. Classic quote. From a guy who could not shut the fuck up to save his life even before he was president. For all the consequences it led to. He's been thumbing his nose at the establishment for like 10 years now, and none of them have had the balls to actually like really drop the info on him. Love this quote being pushed by Elon of all people. Hey, it's not like Elon ever went to Little St. James. Keep refreshing. What, did something new happen? Nah, you just want me to keep refreshing. I see it. Give me the live updates. What is Fox News saying? Right now, what's the ballerina show that the Soviet Union put on during times of great strife? You know what I'm talking about. What's that? There's a specific like dance. Swan Lake. The Fox News is currently airing Swan Lake. If you scroll down the live updates, one of the reporters made the connection between Elon and Epstein. I'm not aware of any connection. Elon Musk has his own connections to Jeffrey Epstein and the now deceased financier's associates. Musk was photographed at a party with Ghislaine Maxwell, one of Epstein's longtime associates and former girlfriend, who was convicted Oh, yeah, no, there's no actual connection. Ghislaine Maxwell went to a ton of parties and took photos with a bunch. Yeah, that was like an actual CIA got me moment, man. My computer just randomly shut off. It wasn't my circuit breaker or whatever. My backup battery was still on. I don't know if it was some kind of like power surge or something. You know, I have no idea. I cut the damn wires. Well, I reset the computer. Oh, hello. What was I saying? Still think Elon doesn't have Epstein ties after that? True. That's pretty true. Was it a black screen? No, my computer it just turned off. Elon asked for Trump to be impeached. No, I know. I'm aware. I saw. We're still up. We're up on it. Maybe your computer overheated. No, I appreciate your suggestions, which are being offered with literally no awareness of the situation, but that is not what happened. And it's not relevant. Oh my God, Democrat messaging I can believe in? Kill the bill and release the Epstein files. Okay, well, your party is also, like, part of the reason why the Epstein files aren't getting released, but, you know. Which bill? The one big beautiful bill. Dude, he genuinely does not have the sauce anymore. I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's a record cut in expenses. Blah, 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 blah. This is like... Miller is telling Trump, stay above this, don't get caught in the weeds. Trump will never win a flame war against Elon because Elon does nothing but tweet all day. He has no life at all. Literally none. Like, there's nothing Elon has going for him right now except for this, basically, apart from being the wealthiest man in the world, which apparently hasn't done much to stabilize him emotionally. Yes, sir, your opponent is a mentally stunted shitposter. You have no chance at winning this. He's being told to stay above it, but I don't think he's going to be able to. All right, what's this new one?
And there was a story that I read about him that really affected me, which was when he was talking to Bill Gates. And Bill Gates had just taken out some huge short on Tesla. It was like $1 billion short or something. And, you know, and Elon was like, why would you do that? Why would you short Tesla? And Bill goes, well, you know, I talked to my financial advisors and I looked at the math and there's no way it's overvalued. And so I'm going to make money on the short. And Elon goes, what do you care about making money? I thought you were into electric cars and climate change and saving the world. What are you doing, like trying to save a few bucks and betting against? Like, and he just walked away in disgust. And I think he never talked to Bill Gates after that. And that's when I realized, like, Elon's a purist. You know, he means what he says. Like, the money is a tool for him to get what he's trying to do. And so I take him at face.
This is extremely embarrassing. So the clip isn't even like relevant to the current feud. It's just guys glazing him. Okay, gotcha. Very good, very good. On Rumble as well. I fucking love that AI grok-ass responses to every tweet Elon gets. The fallout from this relationship, mixed with the awesome stuff Elon's companies are doing for humanity, plus fiscal policy speeding up the fiat currency crash, will send us back to the dark ages for sure. The fight of the decade. Two important figures, Elon Musk and POTUS, both with a lot of power. One economic and more, the other political. One doesn't care about losing, the other does. The whole world is watching this duel. Impressive? Who takes whom down? Place your bets. Wait a sec, Elon Musk. Let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. If the bill was to your liking, you would still be standing in the Oval silent about this? Oh, okay. Jesus Christ, man, these people are so embarrassing. Well, those aren't people. Right now, a shadow war is being fought over Twitter between the bots whose purpose it is to glaze Elon and the bots whose purpose it is to glaze Trump. You know, it's the wars of the future. You have the drones fight first, and then the humans only get involved when the drones don't settle things. What are we looking at? Oh, right, live updates. Oh, yeah, the point that I was making is that, no, Elon doesn't have any Epstein connections. Not any real ones, at least. Not that have been made public. I'm sure he would have loved to go over if he had been invited, but they didn't invite him. Last pick for Dodgeball. What about his brother? Well, that would be his brother. New tweet. The Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. Yeah. Can I finally say Trump's tariffs are super stupid? Hello, blue check Elon Glazer with 2.2 million followers. Is that like the state of the free discourse on Twitter? Like you can only admit that after your daddy breaks up with Trump? What an embarrassing thing to admit. The degree to which the alleged Trump-Musk friendship has been laid bare as a relationship of convenience came very fast today. It was just a few weeks ago that Musk giggled and told a story about sleeping over at the White House residence and eating a tub of caramel ice cream. Okay. Trump threatens to cancel contracts with Elon Musk's space company, space exploration. House Democrats are jumping on Elon Musk's allegation that President Trump's name is in the supposedly secret documents the federal government has on powerful men who are in the orbit of the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. They immediately called for the release of the Epstein files. I called for the full release of the Epstein files a month ago because of my suspicion that Attorney General Pam Bondi was concealing the files to protect Trump, Representative Dan Goldman, Democrat of New York, wrote on Twitter. Now my suspicion has been confirmed. These people are such cynical... These people are such pieces of shit, dude. Biden had the same files. And by the way, the reason they're not releasing the Epstein files isn't because of Trump even. It's because it implicates a ton of people. That was the whole reason Epstein did what he did. He was a power broker. The people who are in the little black book probably represent a tiny fraction of the total number of people who have dirt on them from Epstein in any way, shape, or form. He did this because once you have people indebted to you or you have dirt on people, you can get them to do what you want. That's the whole point, you know? The files are probably all destroyed or being used for blackmail. No, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the government, both halves of the government, I mean, like whether Democrats or Republicans are in office, I should say, use them as blackmail. Yeah. That there's like an entire political class of people who will basically just do whatever the DOJ tells them to because they're aware of the fact that they have info on them. Like, why not, right?
Relationship. I don't know if it will anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't.
Don't be sad because it's over. Be happy it happened at all. Might be a dumb question, but can't the FBI go after the people in the files even if politicians want to keep silent about it? Sure. And then what happens if the FBI arrests people for charges of association with Epstein, child sex trafficking, sexual contact with a minor, and then they go to trial and they testify. Now there's 1,000 other wealthy, powerful people who might get named in the testimony, right? Which they all don't want. There's a shared political, there's a mutual interest in making sure none of those people ever actually testify. How's Trump doing with that round table he's currently holding? Is it over?
And increase violence.
American law enforcement, and we're deeply grateful for your service, and you have done great service indeed.
That's great. Okay, he's not going to be able to talk about Elon here.
Elon writing, time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public.
Elon feels comfortable saying shit like this because he knows that he's not in those files.
Nice day, DJT. Seems a Rubicon that Elon Musk has crossed.
I've been hearing the Rubicon come up a lot lately. Did everyone else see that tweet from the guy who posted the river and was like, the Rubicon seems really easy to cross, actually. I saw Riverboat Jack talk about it a lot. The Rubicon? Yeah, okay. Did they think it was anything other than a line to mark territory? I mean, I'm sure without any other knowledge on Roman history, people would think, like, the reason the Rubicon is special, like crossing the Rubicon, it was like crossing the Delaware, right? Like, yeah, Julius Caesar crossed a really big river, and that's how you knew he was serious. Like, if you even read up on it, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the impression. Or yeah, like crossing the Alps, you know? It's like, oh, okay, well, it was a big deal because it was a big river. Yes, yes, Armored Core. Thank you. We get it. Where the fuck is the... Rare Candace Owens W. Trump is implicated alongside a pedophile, and I knew it, but didn't care because we were friends is not the flex you think it is. Nice meme. That's interesting. I would have expected Elon Musk to side with I would have expected Candace Owens to side with Elon. I'm not really sure what her self-interest is here. It's all about what wedge you're trying to carve out. I don't know. Wonder which way Alex Jones is going to go. Probably with Trump would be my guess. No, guys, I understand. I understand why the Rubicon was significant. I was saying if you didn't know about it, I could understand a person believing that it was a big deal because it was a big river. Thank you for informing me. Elon believing Trump should be impeached. The stock ticker for President Trump's media and tech company also fell on Thursday, dropping 8%. The sell-off accelerated after Elon claimed the administration had stalled on releasing more of the government files on Epstein because Trump's name would appear in them. What is Trump saying right now? Is he quiet? Well, Trump... I can't believe I'm saying this about him. Trump has a job, and Elon doesn't. So Elon can tweet all he wants. Trump's doing some stuff. I mean, he was at that, like, police roundtable a second ago. Trump's advisors are preparing to force various allies of both men to choose sides in the escalating fight. Give me sources on this! Please! Well, while we're waiting on more developments, I wanted to take a look at this anyway. Karine Jean-Pierre, one of the Biden dead enders, I believe is like writing some grifty little book about how she's leaving the Democrats because the Democrats abandoned Biden. That's correct, right? Like, her line here is the Democrats abandoned Biden, not she's disgusted with the Democrats for protecting Biden.
Some serious allegations and also serious pushback. Former President Biden responding after this investigation, insisting that he was in control of the White House at all times and that he made all the decisions.
So meanwhile, you've got Karine Jean-Pierre, Biden's former press secretary and very public defender, is catching fire from just about all sides after ditching the Democrats in a move time with her new book launch. Watch here.
What I have decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass. And here's the truth, and here's how I will lay it out to you. I think we...
Oh, God, the book is called Independent? Jesus Christ. I really, really hate the Democrats. You guys have no idea. It really is a party full of, like, nothing people who believe in nothing. Who will like how many of them are writing these books, right? Tapper hid the extent of the Biden White House's incompetence until after it was politically safe to publish a book about it. There was the book that contained the information pertaining to the what was the book that released, like, it was early this year or late last year? The Bob Woodward one, yeah, the Bob Woodward one. There's Cory Booker with his grifty ass book Stand, where he very clearly like started writing that book immediately after or before even he broke the record for the longest filibuster. And now we have this, like, genuinely people who believe in nothing. At least the Republicans, a lot of them sincerely believe in evil.
Need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes.
Oh my God.
And not be so partisan.
Okay, senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy knows the issue well.
And what an ill-timed grift here too. Who is this appealing to? The political landscape is more engaged than ever. You would have a better chance at making it if you denounce Democrats because you said you were lied to by them. The Democrats were, hiding Joe Biden's incompetence. Like, who are you appealing to here? Who's reading this shit? There were some funny anecdotes dropped into an Axios article. One former White House official who worked closely with Jean-Pierre told Axios that she was, quote, one of the most ineffectual and unprepared people I've ever worked with. She had meltdowns after any interview that asked about a topic not sent over by producers. She didn't know how to manage a team, she didn't know how to shape or deliver a message, and she often created more problems than she solved. A former Biden communications official threw more wood on the fire. The hubris of thinking you can position yourself as an outsider when you not only have enjoyed the perks of extreme proximity to power, which bestows the name recognition needed to sell books off your name, but have actively wielded it from the biggest pulpit there is as breathtaking as it is desperate. It's difficult to see how this is anything but a bizarre cash grab. Quote, the amount of time that was spent coddling Jean-Pierre and appeasing her was astronomical compared to our attention on actual matters of substance. Another said, quote, it's hard to believe someone could look at the past year and genuinely think the party left Joe Biden, that's why I'm leaving the Democratic Party. A former White House comms official added, today Karine lost the only constituency that ever supported her, party-line Democrats. Jean-Pierre did not respond to requests for comment. So I don't know. It seems like genuinely she's just a stupid, incompetent piece of shit who's trying to keep an income stream coming in after leaving the White House, Great. Phenomenal. Thank you for elevating her. Despite long-standing internal frustration with Jean-Pierre's performance since she took over as press secretary in mid-2022, I preferred Jen Psaki. Biden aides largely had stayed silent because she was seen as untouchable given her close relationship with Jill Biden's top aide, Anthony Bernal. Phenomenal. That's the entire Democratic Party. It doesn't matter how competent you are. It doesn't matter how charismatic you are. If you know a guy, if you're like in with the inside of the DNC, and apparently having a close relationship with the top aide of the First Lady is enough. That's sufficient. That's enough. That's enough. Then you're untouchable. Oh, sorry, you have connections. You know the fucking wife's maid. Jill Biden has a lot to answer for. Yeah, unironically, she does actually seem to be like one of the big evils of the Biden administration. She seems to have encouraged every bad tendency, protected Biden, even to the detriment of the country. Like, yeah, to the extent that a first lady can fuck things up, it seems like she did, you know, she put the effort in. Yeah, she kept encouraging Joe Biden to run again. She was gassing him up.
From the North Lawn Live. Peter, what's going on? Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. The first story first. President Biden basically came out of retirement overnight to clap back at President Trump's constant claims that Biden aides, were acting as president to cover up for a declining president. Joe Biden himself said
the knowledge that they did this at this point is basically indisputably true. There are so many anecdotes from so many people, so many testimonials from aides in the Biden White House. The fact, like, no one can argue this at this point. It's not conjecture.
Says, let me be clear. I made the decisions during my presidency. I made the decisions about the pardons, executive orders, legislation, and proclamations. Any suggestion that I didn't is ridiculous and false. We may get some new insight into how Biden's final days actually shook out from the former press secretary, who always painted a very rosy picture behind the scenes and is hawking a new book.
In an era of misinformation, disinformation, the regressiveness of social policy, what we're seeing currently right now, what I have decided to do.
Has a person ever been such a transparent grifter that even the body language they use to convey their new book comes across as disingenuous? Because this is, like, really impressive.
And I really have thought long and hard about this.
Like, look at this.
Is to follow my own compass. So this book, Independent, it's about looking outside of boxes, not just always being in a partisan stance. And how do we move forward together?
Hey, out of curiosity, where's Andrew Yang these days? I assume he's working as, like, an Uber driver or a bartender or something. How's he doing?
About that, a Democratic operative tells Fox the job market is really tough right now for Biden spokespeople, and I cannot begrudge anyone who needs to make a quick buck. Simone Sanders, who worked with KJP at the White House, says a lot of group chats were revived today. And Jean-Pierre never sounded unhappy in her job, including here.
Let me tell you something. I'm the White House press secretary. It is an honor and a privilege. You hear me say this all the time. Honor and privilege to stand before you to be able to do that job. I am proud to be standing here at this podium behind this lectern on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration.
Doesn't sound like it now. That clip was in mid-August. So either she did not come to the conclusion that the Biden White House was broken, her word, until mid-August, or she was stretching the truth there about how much she liked being the White House press secretary.
So we are fortunate right now for our viewers at home. Capacity. Watch.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
He's the president of the United States. You know, I can't even keep up with him.
I remember that line, man. Jesus Christ. How the fuck do these people sleep at night? I mean it, dude. How do you occupy seats of power this high up? You have this much influence, and you're like, God, like, I genuinely, when I see stuff like this, I relate to Republicans far more, because all you have to do is scrape away the moral compass, and then everything the Republicans do makes sense. They're consistently competent. They're strong on their rhetoric. They're evil, but the evil is like the line. That's the line, right? That's the difference. Apart from that, it makes sense. But the Democrats have this, like, this union of incompetence, disinterest, apathy, but also evil. But they're not that committed to it. They're like casually evil, you know. They're not playing the game properly. I don't know. The Dem position is to find the argument that'll get the least amount of votes. Yeah. I don't know, dude. I haven't seen anyone say anything positive about her in the past 48 hours since she announced this book. So I don't know who this is for.
decline. And I don't think she's going to come out in this book and say, I was wrong. But we might get an answer finally to something that I thought about for hours in that room, sitting there in the front row when it wasn't my turn. Was she answering these questions based on her own personal experience? Or was she answering questions based on what bosses were telling her to say?
Jackie, what do you think about it?
I mean, obviously, press secretaries answer the way they're told to answer. Anyway, she gets lapped by Carolyn Levitt easily when it comes to, like, doing her job properly. Fucking disgusting. Yeah, I saw it. Carolyn Levitt's stupid but competent. Carolyn Levitt is not stupid. She knows what she's doing. And it's being evil. We're Epstein posting. Wow, from 1992, the last time MSNBC would feel comfortable drawing a link between Trump and Epstein.
Of a Mar-a-Lago party shows Trump giving Epstein his personal attention. The footage, shot in November of 1992, before Trump opened the resort as a club, shows the future president surrounded by cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins, capturing Trump's fun-loving bachelor lifestyle for an appearance on Faith Daniels' NBC Talk.
See, just look at this. This is why Elon doesn't have Epstein connections. Because Elon would be in the corner of this room tapping his fingertips together like this, or trying to impress a 13-year-old girl by balancing a fork on another fork. Like, genuinely, that's the reason why.
Show.
We're going to get great ratings in your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests, among them the financier Jeffrey Epstein. More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras.
Okay.
Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances, Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter. But as the president said,
People can't do coke like that anymore. Nah, everyone's doing ketamine now. Oh, right. Like and retweet.
Of a Mar-a-Lago party shows Trump
At this time, was Jeffrey Epstein a known pedophile? Well, this was before any criminal conviction to that sort of like exposed that information. But to the New York elites, he would have been known as one. Yeah, for sure. Like I don't know to what extent that was public knowledge, but certainly by this point, like he was well in the game to the people around him. Yeah, very much an open secret. Reports said he was facing prostitution charges. No, they said this would be more than a decade before he was convicted for that.
dancing in front of another man and telling Epstein about the camera. What they say is difficult to understand. Trump gestures to there. She's hot. More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges.
Yeah, so open secret with the kinds of people who attended these parties. '90s really had the best dance music. Well, that's the nice thing. You can actually play music from the '90s at your parties if you want to. Also, nostalgia is a fascist impulse. Cleanse your mind. I hope he keeps this up, man. Musk and Trump both wield their social media platforms as weapons. I remember this. Elon Musk's friends and associates on Thursday are in a state of disbelief. Several say they, like the rest of Washington, are glued to their computers as they watch their friend joust with President Trump, unsure what exactly his plan is. Few of Musk's associates expect this to last forever, but they are sad that it has come to this. Okay. Trump has no energy, hasn't posted in the hour. I think, in my opinion, I think that Trump is being told to lay off it. Senior appointee warns the administration could investigate his companies. I wonder how this is going to, No, get out of my way. I don't want to enter my email. Fine. Wonder how it's going to make the business class at large feel. That publicly breaking with Trump just leads immediately and openly to them threatening to investigate you, you know? Oh, never mind. They don't want the email. They want you to pay. Pieces of shit. That's disingenuous, Rolling Stone. Sign up via email. And then once you sign up via email, they're like, subscribe. Yeah, fuck you. Also, why put the X here? Piece of shit. Here's the good link. One day I'll learn how to use Archive Today. In recent months, some of Trump's most senior officials, Marco Rubio, Sean Duffy, Peter Navarro, you name it, have actively stewed over Musk's intrusions into their work portfolios, finding him to be massively annoying. This week, 2 Trump administration officials tell Rolling Stone the government may not be above revamping investigations into Musk's business empires, probes that carried over from the Biden era, and ones that Musk was extremely adamant he wanted to see a second Trump administration crush if the Tesla billionaire helped elect Trump. This might actually be the best case scenario, a years-long prolonged legal battle between Elon and the administration, where he fucking despises them the entire time and ends up inciting a huge amount of right-wing voter apathy. It would be like he keeps calling Trump a pedophile, associate of Epstein. He keeps saying, well, Trump's acting like the deep state. What happened to free speech? Blah, blah, blah. And we'll all have to be, like, we're in the unfortunate position of needing to agree with him in the context of this, even if he himself is just as bad and would do that or worse if he had the power to. Critical support to Comrade Musk. True. I need to get more media coverage on this. Oh, no JCS video. Interesting, Peony. I'll take a look at that. Turns out this picture was foreshadowing. Stupid. Let me see if I can find... ...10 minutes ago.
The alliance between the world's richest man and the world's most powerful, Donald Trump, is imploding right now in real time before our very eyes, with Trump and Musk tearing into each other inside the Oval Office and online. It appears that Elon Musk, after donating $277 million of his own money to the Trump campaign, after serving as Donald Trump's political heat shield for the first 5 months of his second presidency, did so while doing permanent damage to his business empire, to the federal government, and his personal reputation and legacy. But after all that, even Elon Musk is not immune from the golden rule that for Trump, loyalty is a one-way street. But Musk is not going quietly into the night. After days of Musk trashing Donald Trump's signature domestic policy, his big ugly bill, as Elon Musk called it, Trump finally broke his silence. Watch.
Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here.
Show me the tweets.
Organization.
I think his legacy is not going to be an EV or putting rockets into space. I think it's going to be unnecessary death, disease, and disability of the world's most vulnerable. That is not what it means to be an innovator.
I forgot how boring MSNBC is.
Economy work, making the border secure, making energy dominance a big thing again, and that's what our bill's going to do, and that's what I'm focused on, and the really important things in life. Okay, this is my chief of staff's baby.
He said that you've changed. He criticized you.
Elon said I've changed?
He said,
No.
yeah, you used to be concerned with the deficit. We no longer.
I responded to that. I'm the same guy that's always been a deficit hawk, and now I'm the Speaker of the House, and I'm working on a multi-step plan to reverse the fiscal insanity that has haunted our country. We're going to get back to fiscal responsibility, and this is the first step of many. It's a multi-step process. We have to get the big, beautiful bill done. It's a historic step forward, and I know, right? I know. And I mean, look.
I'm going to be so fucking mad if we actually need to give Elon accolades for getting this bill shut down. I'm going to be so fucking angry.
Thank you very much, media. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, any response to Elon Musk claims about the Epstein files?
Nice to see you. Thank you very much, media.
Very good.
Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason.
Just in Poland this morning and arrived back not even 2 hours ago. And you have the respect of the entire world of law enforcement around this world. They respect all of you so much. Thank you for making all of us so proud on the worldwide stage.
They're all going to try to eat up the accolades and energy that Elon would have otherwise gotten.
The list of the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was...
Isn't it crazy how they kept saying they would release all of these immediately and then they just didn't?
done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay, well, we'll check.
We're never, ever, ever seeing those files. Not yet, really. While reviewing the Epstein files, which you've had now like 5 months to do. You didn't find anything surprising, really? We're gonna get rickrolled again? Yeah, probably.
Americans want June 6th tomorrow. This is D-Day anniversary, when the Americans once ended a war in Europe. And I think this is in your hand in specific, in ours.
That was not a pleasant day for you?
No, that was not a pleasant.
This was not a great
in
day.
the long run, Mr. President, this was the liberation of my country from Nazi dictatorship.
That's true.
So,
that's true.
And we know what we owe you. But this is the reason why I'm saying that America is again in a very strong position to do something on this war and ending this war. So let's talk about what we can do jointly, and we are ready to do what we can. And you know that we gave support to Ukraine, and that we are looking for more pressure on Russia. The European Union.
Was that his one contribution to this line? Seriously? D-Day, that wasn't a good day for you, was it? And at first, Mers agrees, like, no, but we're happy it wasn't a good day for us because you liberated Germany from the Nazis. He almost caught him there. Almost got him.
Americans, by the way, love bananas. We buy billions of them a year. I love bananas. What's the tariff on bananas?
The tariff on bananas would be representative of the countries that produce them.
And what's that tariff?
Representative
Generally 10%.
Correct, 10%. Walmart has already increased the cost of bananas by 8%.
But as countries do deals with us, that will go to zero. As countries do deals with us, that will go to zero.
Wait, Trump said the exact opposite. Trump has said that the White House has literally said multiple times that they're not going to get rid of tariffs just because they've negotiated a deal with these countries.
American consumer now, and on the businesses with the confusion now. Mr. Secretary, I believe you know better. I believe you recognize that a trade deficit is not something to fear. I believe you know that predictability, stability is essential for businesses. I wish you would show that truth to this administration, and I yield back.
Time of the gentlelady is expired. Do you mind, Mr. Chairman, if I make one quick comment to the end? Would that be okay?
I'm sorry?
Would you mind if I make one quick comment to the representative?
Sure. Please.
There's no uncertainty if you build in America and you produce your product in America, there will be no tariff.
We can't produce bananas in America.
Building in America and paying no tariff is very, very clear.
We cannot build bananas in America.
Time of the gentlelady has expired. Mr. Clyde?
Great. Government functioning, same as always. Very good. Holy shit, that man is retarded. Well, he's smarter than Elon, because unlike Elon, he understands why he's there. Dem's eye, a villain to ally arc for Musk. This shit is going to make me so angry, dude. The only reason Elon Musk is positioning himself against Trump right now is because he feels hurt and betrayed that after committing pretty hard to getting Trump elected in 2024, the Republicans clearly don't value any of the work that he did in Doge. The work, of course, being largely destructive and ineffective, and the deficit wasn't reduced. But, you know, it's work nonetheless. He did things, and Republicans are not... They're not even saying thank you. But that doesn't mean Elon's better than the GOP. It just means that he's mad at the GOP because he doesn't understand the nature of the game that's being played here. I really hope that people don't start laundering Elon's reputation here. You know what I mean? Oh, no. Listen, he's not that bad. No, he's pretty bad. You should support Elon against the GOP as like, you know, wedge to kind of drive people into apathy or drive people away from the party. But I do not think... I mean, what could the Democrats do to appeal to Musk exactly? Like, whether they're going to court him over to their side, get your own oligarch? Yeah, I don't want the Sieg Heiling motherfucker around the party. Honestly, they just need to be nice to him. He's a baby. Yeah, but like... Here, yeah, like Richie Torres, these people. Liam Kerr, co-founder of the group behind the centrist Democrats Welcome Fest meeting today. You see this, by the way? This was the abundance guys, a lot of the centrist Democrats, and one of them really gave the game away. It was the quote where he said, you know, if you look at these regulatory issues at a local level, often you'll find the real villain behind them are labor unions. Really giving the game away, what they care about over there. Hilarious picture from the Welcome Fest? You mean because there's like no one there? Lakshya Jain, the voter you're trying to win over is a soccer mom who isn't really as concerned with the election on Tuesday as she is with their kids' soccer semifinal on Saturday. The Dem argument for voters is we don't care, so we assume the voters don't also. We shouldn't be passionate. It's not that we're lazy, okay? And inconsistent and spineless. It's that the average voter doesn't care about whether or not their life gets better or worse. So if we dedicate too much of ourselves, if we're too passionate in fighting for them, it'll put them off. It'll give them the ick. Yeah, I'm not getting into this right now, okay? I'm not getting into this right now. Others are taking a wait-and-see approach. I don't think we should take one ketamine-fueled tweet as evidence of a change of heart, said Matt Bennett, co-founder of the center-left group Third Way. It's more complicated. You've got your head screwed on straight, Matt. Like, you have to understand, the only reason Elon's mad right now is because the Republicans aren't cutting more from Medicaid. Everyone knows that, right? He's not angry at the GOP because their bill is destructive and awful. He's just being a budget hawk. Like, he's just mad that his involvement hasn't been codified. If they cut way the fuck more from Medicaid and they kept a lower staff funding for these administrative departments that Doge went and tore up, he would be happy. If the bill was worse, he would be happy. Speaking of, Matt Iglesias was saying Schumer should give Elon a call. Matt Iglesias is a Substack grifter. He was literally arguing that the reason why Democrats should give up on fighting the revocation of birthright citizenship is because birthright citizenship is unpopular, which it's not. The vast majority of Americans believe in keeping birthright citizenship. So he was arguing that, like, listen, okay, I'm a popularist, all right? I just want to do things that are popular, and I don't believe in changing people's minds. So let's do this thing that I've been told is popular that is actually wildly unpopular and can only be addressed through a constitutional amendment. These people don't believe in anything, okay? They're worthless. Elon is better than them. At least Elon is sincerely retarded, okay? Sometimes with these centrist Democrat types, I feel like they're grifting. You know, like they're grifting the retardation. They're not even authentically retarded. You could have a conversation with them on another topic and they would be halfway reasonable. Christ. I wonder how much Elon's phone is blowing up right now. Elon tells Laura Loomer Republicans should side with him because Trump will die first. Yeah, I saw the tweet. I don't know if he was necessarily telling Laura Loomer that. He does tweet a lot. How likely do you think it is Elon will accidentally post a tweet admitting to something illegal? He does that all the time. It's just nobody cares about following the law anymore. Like bribing voters? I think he had to delete a few tweets over that, too. I feel like Jeffries and Schumer should give Elon Musk a call and tell him about the Democratic Party's long-standing interest in electric cars, solar panels, space exploration, and balanced deficit reduction. That's nice. Yeah. We don't need to give that stuff air, okay? We don't need to. I can't believe I'm still awake, dude. I have, At least a slight caffeine dependency. That is for sure. The Republican spending bill would cut $7,500 in tax credits for people who purchase Tesla cars, phase out subsidies for battery factories and lithium refineries, and end financial support for vehicle charging stations. Trump and his Republican allies are also planning to kill regulations that allow Tesla to sell clean air credits to other car makers that fail to meet environmental standards. During the first quarter, Tesla sold credits worth $595 million, more than the company's net profit of $409 million. I hate cap and trade so fucking much. You guys genuinely have no idea. Anything in that, I don't know if this technically fits in like as a subcategory of cap and trade. I believe so. Genuinely the most like ghoulish neoliberal solution to climate change imaginable. Like just another excuse to give them money. That's been Tesla's business model from the start. Yep. Because they're a big ass company. They get a lot of credits that they don't use. What would you do instead of cap and trade? Okay, this one's crazy. The output of a factory is measured, and you find the company for what they put out. And there's like an exponential scale to that, where past a certain point, you have it's economically necessary for you to emit less. Or you could just jail people, yeah. So reality? No, because in reality, you have the cap and trade system where you're given an allotment of pollution that you get to exhume into the atmosphere. And if you don't meet that allotment, you get to sell those credits to other companies. So other companies get to pollute a fuck ton because they're paying you to get the right. No, I mean a measured objective reality. Oh, okay. Yeah. It won't work for carbon, but cap and trade literally fixed acid rain. Wasn't acid rain improved largely because there were certain aerosolizers we stopped using, and that was causing the ozone gap and acid rain? Or is that just the ozone gap and acid rain is a different thing? I don't think that was necessarily cap and trade. I mean, cap and trade might have been like used in the process, but I don't think it's a necessary solution, you know? CFCs was the ozone layer. Okay, gotcha. Musk had seemed not to mind. That changed on Thursday when he wrote on Twitter, keep the EV/solar incentive cuts in the bill even though no oil and gas subsidies are touched. Very unfair, but ditch the mountain of disgusting pork in the bill. Is this snippet right here implicitly taking the anti-Elon position? Because Elon is right on this. What's the pork? The whole bill, basically? I think functionally what you suggested was a tax on CO2 emissions, which means an increase in prices. Well, no, past the point you have to arrest them. So, like, the problem is that the current system just allows you to buy a bigger allotment, which effectively is like paying a fine. Listen, cap and trade is like paying a fine on excess emissions, except rather than paying it to the government where they could use it to build new schools, they pay it to Tesla so Elon Musk can swim around in a big pile of money. Like, that's literally the consequence of cap and trade. If everyone's given an allotment, but you can sell your unused allotment, then it's other companies essentially paying a tax to Tesla. So the price goes up for whatever that company's doing because they're still incurring that cost to get the additional EV or emission credits. But it's going to Tesla instead of the government? Insane. AOC's talking about her endorsements.
Well, you know, I think we have 5 fantastic candidates for mayor. I think Zohran Mamdani is really demonstrating himself to be leading the pack here and leading a coalition of New Yorkers that are most likely to defeat Andrew Cuomo. Of course, Speaker Adrienne Adams is a fantastic candidate. I absolutely encourage people to rank her and Controller Brad Lander as 2 and 3, and Scott Stringer's great, love him, he's 4, and Zellner Myrie is also fabulous as a state senator, and I encourage folks to rank him as well. Well,
yeah, we get it. She's pretty. Thank you, everyone.
When Musk left the government last week, he said it was to focus on his companies, including Tesla. A group of Tesla shareholders even accused him of being absent amid a crisis as the company's showrooms were targeted by vandalism and its stock price slipped. Which, by the way, let's check in on Tesla stock here. The market just closed. Shares of Tesla closed down over 14%. Trump's Oval Office remarks and Elon's tweet spree. Yeah, that started around noon today. That was basically the high point, and billions have been wiped from Tesla's value in the meantime.
Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore.
They might not even be friends anymore.
Cut.
All right. We literally tried to produce some actual popcorn for the show.
This is like Kendrick v. Drake, but with 2 Drakes.
Because it seems like that kind of a day. But let me tell you, it got much worse than what we just walked through right there. Because the president, presumably after seeing Musk's tweets, responded this. Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months that I was going to do, and he just went crazy. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it.
We were cycling Hassan's stream jokes, Lamau. We probably both stole the same tweet.
If you think that it would have ended there, you would be wrong, and I'm pretty sure none of you thought that it would end there, because here's what Musk said. Go ahead, make my day. And for the record, Musk continued to tweet about Trump after this, is probably still tweeting. Jeffrey Epstein has been mentioned, but we have to cut it off somewhere. We're going to talk to our panel in just a moment, but we're going to start with Kristen.
Speaking of good tweets, Jesus Christ. Trump's new foreign policy by tomorrow morning.
Shoot to kill the mother, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer.
What matters is that they're having fun.
Holmes at the White House. Kristen, I do think certainly when the Musk-Trump bromance began, there was a lot of speculation about the inevitability of a day like this. It actually lasted quite a while. The two seemed to manage to, keep their relationship on track through Musk's tenure. I guess at this point, I have to ask you, is the Tesla that Trump bought still on the White House grounds? It sounds like we're set to perhaps hear from the president later on today. What have you seen so far today at the White House, and what are you expecting to come next?
Nobody knows how to handle this story.
Well, Casey, there's breaking up, and then there's publicly taking a flamethrower to another person to completely try and destroy their reputation and livelihood, which is what we've seen these two men engage in for the last several hours. You have Donald Trump there saying he's going to take away government contract subsidies to the tune of billions of dollars from Elon Musk, which would be his livelihood. And as you mentioned, Elon Musk is making this a nuclear threat by essentially claiming that Donald Trump is in the, quote, Epstein files. Now, just one thing to make clear here, we don't even believe or we don't even know that any Epstein files exist.
Dude, the way this shit pisses me off so fucking much. Everyone doesn't want to, no one wants to touch this, okay? They really want you to believe that they raided Little St. James. They got this ultra wealthy financier with connections to everyone. He had a fucking private mega jet, okay? And they got all that intel, and there are no files that haven't been released publicly. Come on, how stupid. It's because they're like, well, listen, we're not breaking the story today. There's no need to assassinate me. Jesus Christ.
We have no indication that Musk would have access to that. But of course, this is a long-lived.
This is what drives conspiracy theories. It's a correct conspiracy theory. There are files, and they don't go after the people implicated in them because they all have ties to one another, and it would effectively bring down like the fucking. Okay, remember the Panama Papers coming out? Remember when Panama Papers came out and a bunch of wealthy people were implicated in them, that their accountants had illegally stored money overseas, and then for some reason there was never a follow-up on that, even though you'd think all of these Western governments with like basically unlimited like political power, none of them like pursued this or any investigations. Why? Well, because that would upend the whole system. The journalist who leaked that was killed, yes, with a car bomb.
Conspiracy theory that there are some files out there of clients of Jeffrey Epstein's. Now, we reached out to the White House to get a response to this. Donald Trump is going to sit for a roundtable with the Fraternal Order of Police any moment now, and this is not one that his advisors are going to respond for him. They are going to give him the opportunity. The cameras will be there, and we were told Donald Trump wants to talk about this. Just remember, as you said, Donald Trump didn't respond to Elon Musk's lambasting of his legacy bill for 2 days. It wasn't until he was asked about it today that he really laid into it. And even then, just saying that he was disappointed. Now it gets incredibly personal, saying that it's wearing thin. You see Elon Musk saying that's not true, that's a lie. They're going back and forth, back and forth. Yes, there is somewhat of a juvenile angle to this, but these are also two of the most powerful men in the world who are having this public breakup right now, which you said, of course, at some times people speculated this could happen. Two men with huge egos, big personalities. But the White House advisors thought they got off scot-free.
Would you
they
like
thought
to
that on
say
Friday
anything
he was gone. They had a
in this
pleasant meeting.
sentence,
They
perhaps?
praised each other, and he was out the door. And a lot of people were happy to see him go. Donald Trump is right about that. He was wearing thin on some of the advisors who said it was time for him to move on. But right now what you are seeing is a complete escalation in some cases, and also a devolving of this relationship that we watched for the first 4 months. It's really a signature part of the first 4 months or 5 months of Donald Trump's time in office. So right now we are waiting to see how Donald Trump responds to this incredibly personal attack, obviously trying to make it more personal, trying to spark conspiracy theories around the current president. Elon Musk doing so, taking it to a whole new level here.
A whole new level indeed. Kristen Holmes, I know
that was genuinely very impressive. That was an incredibly long nothing. Like that would be a lot for Trump. I feel like Trump would like just sort of glance adjacent to a real point somewhere in there.
you'll be standing by for us throughout the hour as we wait for Donald Trump to weigh in on camera on this. Our panel joins us now. Elliot Williams, CNN legal analyst, former federal prosecutor. Kristen Soltis-Anderson, CNN political commentator, Republican pollster. Adrian Elrod, former senior advisor to the Biden-Harris campaign. Matt Mowers, Republican strategist. And Fayez Siddiqui, technology reporter at the Washington Post. And an Elon Musk biographer is also with us. But before we start our conversation, I do want to just roll some of that tape to remind all of us what this relationship between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, a relationship that, let's be honest, has impacted the lives of certainly thousands, perhaps millions of Americans through these DOGE cuts and other measures, what it looked like before they had this. I mean, this is beyond a breakup. This feels like a really nasty divorce where all American hatred bills ever presented at of these.
They have nothing to say but like clip shows and guys, this is a big deal. Sorry, just confirming my suspicions, I guess. They're just waffling. I feel like it is destabilizing to America broadly for anyone in media to acknowledge how much our institutions right now are being held captive by the egos of retarded pedophiles. Because that's obviously true. It's unmistakably true, right? Like that's definitely what's going on here. Everything, the 250 years, Democratic Republic, you know, superpower, fun, World War II, all the shit we've done, and all of it right now is hinged on this fucking Drake v. Drake conflict. And I don't think a lot of news agencies want to acknowledge that, you know? I think that acknowledging how fucking inane it is, kind of goes against the narrative they try to push, which is to imbue all of this bullshit with like some gravitas, you know, some seriousness. Jesse Waters is coping.
Who are your friends? Yeah. No one slept with my girlfriend, let's put it that way.
Excellent opening to the clip.
These guys are like roommates. They were living in close quarters for like the first 6 months of the year. They're just blowing off steam. Okay. The issue is donor maintenance. This guy's the mega donor. So you don't want him accusing you of being a pedophile, and you don't want him calling for your impeachment. I hope he doesn't mean that, but maybe they can patch things up. I mean, Vance called Trump Hitler, and he's on the ticket. Who are your friends?
That's really funny. I wouldn't expect him to be hedging. Yeah, when things are going well, no kidding. I wonder why Elon hasn't tweeted in 40 minutes. I imagine he got a bunch of texts basically from like everyone in the White House saying something to the effect of, you know, I know hate isn't in your heart. Please, please put down the phone, please. Ketamine break? Maybe. Ketamine, you come down from a ketamine high pretty quickly, right? What if he walks it all back? How funny would that be? What if he deletes all of his mean tweets and he walks it all back? That'd be disappointing, maybe. Well, while we're waiting on more updates from the Hitler v. Hitler discourse... Oh, actually, hold on. 3 new updates to the Times. A Justice Department spokesperson had no immediate comment on calls to release files in the Jeffrey Epstein case that include references to Trump, after Elon Musk suggested the material has been suppressed. Earlier this year, Pam Bondi promised a bombshell disclosure in the case, but ended up handing out a news-free batch of documents angering far-right activists. And a literal rickroll on Twitter. Nothing of substance. That's fine. You guys read this? I'm not asking that rhetorically. I'm asking if you've read it, because I've only seen snippets of it. Curtis Yarvin's the big, or one of the big. He's up there with Peter Thiel. Well, Peter Thiel is more of a financier, right? And Curtis Yarvin is more of like a philosopher poet. He's a warrior poet. One of the Silicon Valley, like, fascist thought leaders. You know, we're illiterate. I mean, hey, me too. New Yorker. What does that pose? I don't know what he's doing here. The reactionary bloggers call for a monarch to rule the country once seemed like a joke. Now the right is ready to bend the knee. You know, we'll touch on this later. I feel like I need more caffeine before I want to talk about Curtis Yarvin. That's fine. Somebody linked this. Senators put a line into the crypto bill. What crypto bill are we referring to here? The Genius Act. Wonder why they called it that. Crypto regulation bill aims to ensure the dollar remains the world's reserve currency. Of course. The provision in this bill could require banks to take cash from your savings account and use it to pay senators' crypto donors. Excuse me. In any insolvency proceeding, including any proceeding under Title 11, U.S. code, or any insolvency proceeding by a primary federal payment stablecoin regulator or a state banking supervisor with respect to a payment stablecoin issuer, the claim of a person holding payment stablecoins issued by the payment stablecoin issuer shall have priority over all other claims against the payment stablecoin issuer. Uh-huh. What? I have too many friends to understand what this means. I think what they're saying is that in insolvency proceedings, people get their debts paid out with priority. Person holding payment stablecoins issued by the payment stablecoin issuer shall have priority over all their claims against the payment stablecoin issuer. Huh. It seems like they get paid out first, I guess. That would be my guess. Like what they're essentially doing is they're trying to build a framework where cryptocurrency gets used as an actual currency rather than as a speculative investment, which is why they're calling it a stable coin, right? Because its value would hold stable. And in insolvency, with regard to debts from people who have issued stable coins, they would get priority when it comes to their payouts? Do I understand that correctly? This seems like it's a little more, for more read here. Yeah, sure. Forcing bank deposits to subsidize stablecoins, the Genius Act. Okay, that sounds quite scary, I think. One second. I need to close this door, and I also need to pee, so... You can chew over those words for a second. All right, now that I've left you alone with this, I assume that you've read it, you understand it, and you can summarize it for me? Their letters? Interesting. If the Genius Act becomes law, we're in for a FUBAR situation when a stablecoin issuer ends up insolvent. Even more concerning, if a bank custodian for a stablecoin issuer's reserves ends up insolvent, the claims of the stablecoin investors will come ahead of bank depositors. Okay, I understand. So if there's an entity that is issuing stablecoin, which you can just imagine as like a cryptocurrency, not crypto, but not like a Bitcoin or whatever, but like an actual currency with a stabilized value. If a bank that is issuing, I mean, the bank is managing your loans, the bank is managing your account, but the bank is also holding and providing for the stablecoin. If that bank goes under, they pay the stablecoin issuer before paying you back. That's insane. Like they're literally legally prioritizing the crypto coin issuer. They pay the owners of the stablecoins, not the issuers. Yeah, when a stablecoin issuer ends up insolvent. Bank custodian for a stablecoin issuer's reserves ends up insolvent. Yeah. That seems pretty bad. What happens to the holder? Well, I think it depends on how much money the bank has or how much they can issue. But essentially, like the idea here is that they're legally prioritizing. They are literally trying to make the US dollar less legally privileged than a cryptocurrency that has been tied to the value of the US dollar. Banks getting fucked seems fine to me. No. This is you getting fucked. You must understand. If you do business with the bank in US dollars, you have your savings account or you take out loans, mortgage, whatever, and the bank ends up going insolvent, the bank's first responsibility for who to make whole is the issuer of the stablecoin, which potentially could be an enormous amount of money, depending on how much it's like insured to, you know? That seems bad. These issue low will make any stablecoin issuer bankruptcy a complete mess. I have no idea how a court will work through them. Congress is about to put the claims of stablecoin investors ahead of Ma and Pa's bank accounts. That's just stunning. Now Ma and Pa's deposits are FDIC insured, so they'll be all right, but it means the FDIC's deposit insurance fund is footing the bill. In other words, the Genius Act is subsidizing stablecoin issuance on the back of bank deposits. The Genius Act is effectively letting FDIC insurance leak out to cover uninsured stablecoins without any insurance. So wait, okay, hold on. So they would be obligated to pay all of it back. Like the FDIC wouldn't just be on the hook for the limit of their insurance per account. They would have to pay back the value of all of the stablecoin if the bank ends up going insolvent. So potentially the FDIC could be forced to take out billions to pay out, like it goes past the insurance. Like if you have USD in a bank account, there's a limit to how much the FDIC will insure that amount if the bank goes insolvent. Yeah, the FDIC, 250K? Yeah, 250K. Whereas apparently with the stablecoin, they would be forced to pay it all out. No, if the bank can't pay it back, then the coin holders get a prorated amount of the liquidated bank. So it wouldn't be coverage by the FDIC? It says right here the FDIC's deposit insurance is footing the bill. The idea is that you rob Peter to pay Paul, and then the FDIC insures Peter. If Peter doesn't have enough to pay Paul, Paul is still fucked. I don't know. This seems pretty bad, man. I feel like this is also a topic that I need to cover on a day that I haven't run out of coffee. Bannon says he told Trump to investigate Musk. Bannon, one of Musk's most vocal critics, yeah, he wants Musk deported, yes. For months, the Trump administration officials have faced mounting pressure from the far right and online influencers to release the so-called Epstein files. You know, it really does piss me off that release the Epstein files has become a dog whistle for the online right wing, when you'd think, if anything, this should be like a pretty ubiquitous chant, right? Like the far right wants to get at Bill Clinton or whatever. I just don't understand why like liberals and lefties have given this up. Like, nobody likes Jeffrey Epstein, apart from Donald Trump, I guess. I don't understand why this isn't, like, brought up more often. They've been obsessed with Epstein for years, man. Lefties? Whenever I see Epstein get brought up online, it's by like neo-Nazis who are who are making it about like Jews or something. That's what I see. I don't see people doing it. Like it's a broad anti-oligarch position or anti-elite or whatever. No, the right? Yeah, I mean. Time to drop the really big bomb, Mr. Musk wrote on social media. Mr. Trump, he said, quote, is in the Epstein files. That is why they have not been made public. Mr. Musk did not offer any evidence, but soon added the truth will come out. Simply being mentioned in the files does not necessarily mean much. Criminal case files are frequently full of victim identities. They're like implicitly defending Trump here. Like, him being in the files might not mean anything. After all, it's not like there's any other evidence suggesting he was a close correspondent of Epstein's. Thank you for correcting the record, New York Times. It's true. Trump and Epstein across path of the years, both fixtures of wealthy social circles in New York and Florida. In a 2002 interview with New York Magazine, Mr. Trump said he had known Mr. Epstein for 15 years, calling him a terrific guy who was a lot of fun to be with. Well, at least they're playing the grades here. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. In 2019, after Epstein had been arrested again, the president distanced himself. I knew he was like everybody in Palm Beach knew him. I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him, he said. I don't think I've spoke with him for 15 years. I was not a fan. Generated intense public interest because the first criminal charges Epstein faced were resolved with an unusual plea agreement which exacted little punishment for what were described as years of sexual abuse of high school girls whom he paid for massages. Was that the, who was the lawyer for that one? What was it? Is it Dershowitz? He's the freak, he's like Israel invited him to defend them against the ICC charges. That's right, Alan Dershowitz? Okay, yeah. That fucking guy. Bondi and Kash Patel have enlisted dozens of agents and prosecutors to scrutinize and prepare other Epstein files for release, according to people familiar with the work who spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe internal law enforcement operations. It is still unclear when Phase 2 will be released. I really don't think it takes, like, 5 months to release this. They're never, ever, ever going to release it, man.
Know anything. He's a know-it-all. He knows some engineering. Don't get me wrong. I give a hat tip for that, but he doesn't know anything about the real world. Doge was, and for any fanboys that still exist, while you're wrapping up in your cape tonight, understand on Doge, he didn't find any fraud. There's plenty of fraud out there. He didn't find. This is President Trump's first complaint. Was this all BS? Right with the Doge. The action that President Trump should be taking immediately, I think, when he threatens to take one of the big programs out of SpaceX, President Trump tonight should sign an executive order calling for the Defense Production Act to be called in SpaceX and seize SpaceX tonight before midnight.
It's honestly good for us that Stephen Miller is no longer... Sorry, not Stephen Miller. Steve Bannon is no longer in like the inner circle of the White House, because he's one of the only strategists on their side who really seems to understand what game they're playing in the long run. I think he got ousted largely because he's odious, disagreeable, just difficult to get along with, basically. There are a bunch of reasons. He styles himself in a way that makes it kind of difficult to keep him around Trump, like, directly. He's greasy. You know, it's literally like shit like that actually does make a big difference. But he's also like correct on this from his perspective, from the perspective of the right, in the sense that like you're running up against a wall now. And every fascist dictator has this happen eventually, right? Whether you're Hitler or Pinochet or whatever, you get like uppity business moguls who want something different, right? With Germany, there was a bunch of people. There were people from banks and big industry, you know. It can be a general. It can be somebody who was prominent during your rise to power, but now wants something different, and they're speaking out against you. At a certain point, the only thing you can do is you crack the whip and you disappear them, or you utterly crush them. Because if you allow them to continue to speak out against you, you give them the opportunity to unravel the illusion of consensus that you've built. Unfortunately, America is still a pretty big and complicated country. You know, we're not Germany in 1933. So I don't think Trump could get away with it. I don't think Trump could get away with it. You know, just like a dubiously legal seizure of Elon Musk's assets, deporting him for the student visa thing, investigating, opening up all the investigations. It is the right move. Though maybe Elon's flippant enough that after he comes down the, off the high, he might just delete his tweets and pretend this never happened.
It's a leverage point. Because President Trump, even though he's going to run in 28, may not be here forever, so we need the debt ceiling. Here's the problem with Elon. It's very simple. He promised $1 trillion in cuts and waste, fraud, and abuse. And listen, for all the fanboys out there, I'm gonna treat you fanboys like little puppies. They're gonna rub your nose in the mess you made. All this thing about the rescissions, we're gonna do the first rescissions package, the $9.4 billion. There's not a line item in there. There's 11 line items, including $1 billion for NPR and $1 billion for. This has been fought. These are programmatic, right? Take all fanboys, Elon fanboys, take your number 2 pencil out and write this down.
Pencil.
Programmatic means it's a program that's been passed in an appropriations bill that's called a law, okay? People have fought this. The audience has stayed up in the middle of the night in 2023 for the single subject bills, saw Eli Crane and Matt Gaetz and MTG and Lauren Boebert and Andy Biggs
I don't know why
all
his
night
feed is so
long
bad.
at 3
It
o'clock
keeps
in the morning.
freezing.
And what were they arguing about? Everything that's in that first rescissions bill. And who outvoted them? The Republican Party. On the floor of the House, and you know this, they would sit there and make these incredible arguments. You had three podiums. One was the rebels, MTG, Gates, the same people, the same 20 people up there all the time. Then you had one in the middle, it was the Rhino Republicans, and you had the Democrats, and the Democrats just sat there the whole time, and then they said, no, we'll give the time to you. The Democrats gave their time to the Republican establishment, who shot down everything that's on there, everything. You know, Sesame Street in Arabic. All of this that is not what Doge was supposed to do. He told the President of the United States over and over and over again, I got $1 trillion of waste, fraud, and abuse. What do I mean?
I wonder if Steve Bannon actually believes this. Like, does he actually believe there's $1 trillion of waste, fraud, and abuse to cut from the government? Or is he just feigning outrage as a way of directing antagonism against Elon, but he knows the whole point of this was just to, like, undo the government? Nah, he's smarter than that. That's my thinking, too. He's too smart to believe that. No, the waste in his mind is Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, whatever. I think he leans a little bit more red-brown on that. I don't think he actually has an issue with these. Well, he might have an issue with these programs going to black people, right? I'm not entirely sure. Am I wrong, or was Steve Bannon just arguing against Elon cutting the aid to Arabic Sesame Street? No, he was. Which is interesting, because you think that would be a good, like, culture war virtue signal to pick up on. Like he would say, oh, I'm glad Elon got that, but it wasn't enough, you know? But he decried that too. I don't know. It's odd. He's an odd guy. Who will be the next shadow president? Miller has been, like, the main culprit for a while. Steve Bannon has real fascist values. He doesn't care about the culture war. fuck, is he okay? Is Steve Bannon like a pure fascist in the sense, like, is he ideologically consistent within fascism? Like, is he more, how do I put this? Is he like closer to Mussolini than Hitler? Like, he's obviously racist and he's played on the culture war. It makes me wonder, like, how much does he think of these culture war virtue signals to be distractions from the real aim of ending American democracy? Actual Nazis are anti-capitalist? To an extent, yeah. Or it should be said that Nazis work with the capitalist class and they privatize relentlessly, but there is a core tenet of capitalism that they don't respect, right? Which is, you know, essentially freedom of trade. They don't believe that corporations should get to do whatever they want if it makes them the most money. They think that corporations exist to serve the state. So it's like a subjugation of the capitalist class in support of the state. But not always. Steve Bannon believes in the power of the state, and so he believes in soft power too. Yeah, that's a really good line that kind of like divides real ideological fascists like Bannon from like phony populist opportunists who use fascist rhetoric like Trump, which is that any real fascist would be delighted at USAID because USAID affords us, for very little money, an enormous amount of soft power, you know? Having Sesame Street playing in Arabic means that you're extending like the power of the state, of the cultural mandate, all the way across the world in every language, you know? The fascist loves state power. You'd think if anything, they'd be delighted by that. All these other issues, like say, you know, racism or whatever, those are subordinated issues. They're ultimately, they have to be sort of like broken into line in service of the needs of the state. Of course, in practice, usually, and this is the ideological contradiction, right? Even if a quote-unquote pure fascist intention wouldn't necessarily lead you down those roads, it's actually, as it turns out, way easier to run a fascist government if you make enemies out of certain types of people, like, say, by their race, right? Like with Mussolini, you know? Mussolini was racist, but it's very obvious that his political project was mostly just like he wanted to be the big guy with the big hat. He wanted to be the big guy with the big hat on the big balcony yelling at people. And the main, you know, sort of like argument by which he became the Il Duce. Is it Duce? It's Duce, right? Yes. Okay. Was for like greater national glory, you know, appealing to disenfranchised veterans from the First World War, arguing that Italy should share in a greater portion of the you know, the territorial conquest from the First World War, that sort of thing, right? But, so, because then people are like, oh, Mussolini, he was like what fascists are supposed to be. Then what happened? Hitler got more powerful than Mussolini, and Hitler was like, hey, you know what you should do? Even though you have, like, no reason to do so, you should give me your Jewish citizens. You know, loyal supporters, people who have been well integrated into their communities, people you haven't directed antagonism against necessarily, you should give them to me. You should, a person who claims to value above all else the state, the nation, the blood, the people, etc., you should give me your citizens so I can kill them for my political project. And what did Mussolini do? He folded. So that's what pure fascism gets you, right? It all eventually collapses into the same pit. And by the end of the, you know, Italy's participation in World War II in the Axis, I mean, the Italian soldiers were being used as fucking cannon fodder by the Germans, you know? He literally sold his people out. His soldiers, the people he initially won the support of when becoming, you know, Il Duce, he sold them out to be cannon fodder. So it's like, you know, you can... I don't mean to be a bother, but if you could read my previous question, I'd greatly appreciate it. You're being an immense bother. Just ask the question again. Are there any examples of fascists that don't focus on race antagonisms? Well, I'm kind of describing how Mussolini didn't like bring that to the forefront. I mean, Mussolini was racist because, like, everyone back then was racist, basically. But it definitely wasn't like the main drive of his antagonism. I think that it's just as a matter of convenience, almost always these forms of governance will collapse into that, because it's the easiest way to get you to just mindlessly hate a group of people. You know? Pol Pot. I don't know if I'd call Pol Pot wasn't really a fascist, man. He was on another level. He was like a fucking... Pol Pot was an anime villain. Like, he was like when you are playing one of the Resident Evil games and you barge into the CEO's office and he's talking about how, like, a new life will be reborn, but first we have to extinguish the old one, and then he explains how he plans to kill 8 billion humans. That was Pol Pot. He was fucking insane. Pol Pot does look like Elon. That is true, yeah. To be fair, Vosh, it looks like Italy only started deporting Jews to be Holocausted after Germany invaded them and turned them into a puppet state. Well, that's what I said. Didn't I? Like that's the point. Like it becomes that's like the impetus, right? It is wild, though, like how it played out exactly. Can you explain why Mussolini started out a socialist? He wasn't a socialist ideologically. Back then, socialism was much more popular as a political ideology. He was in favor of the working man, but his definition of the working man included a lot of dispirited veterans who felt like they were betrayed by their government of like out-of-touch elites after World War I. So if you're an opportunist like Mussolini, who mostly just wants power on the back of like public applause and accolades, and it's easier to run with that. He took advantage of it. It's entirely possible there's a different timeline where Italy didn't feel so dispirited after World War I, where Mussolini would have just kept running with the socialist newspaper that he was writing for. Yeah, Voshby, your implication was that Mussolini/fascist Italy was just fine with it from the get-go. I didn't mean to imply that they were fine with it from the get-go. I meant to imply, like, they bent the knee to Hitler's racial ideology for no reason other than because Hitler was the dominant fascist power within the Axis. And Mussolini became subordinate and ended up betraying the number one thing he said he stood for, which was, like, you know, blood in the nation. How would you define syndicalism? Take it to ChatGPT. In June 1940, after the outbreak of World War II, the fascist Italian government opened around 50 concentration camps. They were used predominantly to hold political prisoners, but also around 2,200 Jews of foreign nationality. Italian Jews were not interned. The Jews in these camps were treated no differently from political prisoners. While living conditions and food were often basic, prisoners were not subject to violent treatment. The fascist regime even allowed a Jewish Italian organization to operate legally in support of the Jewish internees. Conditions for non-Jews were much worse. Italian authorities perceived that imprisoned Roma were used to a harsh life, so they received much lower food allowances and more basic accommodations. Europeans and Romani people. Always, always, always. After the occupation of Greece and Yugoslavia, held up to 150,000 people. Living conditions were very harsh. Mortality rates were greater. Unlike Jews in other Axis-aligned countries, no Jews in Italy or Italian-occupied areas were murdered or deported to concentration camps in Germany before September 1943. In the territories occupied by the Italian army in Greece, France, and Yugoslavia, Jews even found protection from persecution. The Italian army actively protected Jews in occupied zones, to the frustration of Nazi Germany, and to the point where the Italian sector in Croatia was referred to as the Promised Land. Up to September 1943, Germany made no serious attempt to force Mussolini and Fascist Italy into handing over the Italian Jews. It was nevertheless irritated with the Italian refusal to arrest and deport its Jewish population, feeling it encouraged other countries allied with the Axis powers to refuse as well. Ah! Every time I highlight something in the top half of fucking Wikipedia, it goes crazy. Yeah, here we go. The attitude of the Italian fascists towards Italian Jews changed drastically in November 1943 after the fascist authorities declared them to be of enemy nationality during the Congress of Verona, and began to participate actively in the prosecution and arrest of Jews. Initially, after the Italian surrender, the Italian police had only assisted in the roundup of Jews when requested to do so by German authorities. With the Manifest of Verona, in which Jews were declared foreigners, and in times of war enemies, this changed. Police Order Number 5, issued by Guido Buffarini Guidi, Minister of the Interior of the RSI, ordered Italian police to arrest Jews and confiscate their property. But they exempted Jews over the age of 70 or of mixed marriages, which frustrated the Germans who wanted to arrest and deport all Italian Jews. Now, my memory of reading this before, not this article, I mean, but like about the subject, was that Mussolini capitulated before his arrest to Hitler. But I guess I could be wrong on that. I swear I remember that. It was more like a capitulation in the sense that Italy started their own anti-Semitic legislation in an effort to, like, kowtow to the Germans, yeah. This sounds fake. Google Jasenovac concentration camp. Sure, sure. Fun stuff to add to the history. Why not? Was it presided over by Italians or Germans? Extermination camp established in the village. Authorities of the independent state of Croatia, a puppet state of Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy. I'm not sure entirely how much this relates to what we were talking about. Those were even worse than the actual Nazis. There's no reason to get into Nazi Olympics, okay? Bad bitches, etc. You're talking about the Italian racial laws? No, I'm looking at the Jasenovac concentration camp. That's a different thing. All right. No more distracting me. I say to myself, holy shit, I'm tired. GOP senators respond to Musk-Trump fight. Looks like the BBB is dead. No way. Uh-oh.
Are you worried about what Elon Musk is saying here, about that this bill could really drive up the national debt?
Well, it's going to drive up the debt. I mean, all you got to do is look at the numbers. It's going to continue to grow. And what, in 20 years, it's going to go up 20, 30 trillion more dollars. We can't afford that to happen. Okay, the big, beautiful bill is big. Not a lot of it is beautiful. Some of it's beautiful. But again, when you mix it all together, it just makes it that much harder.
The way that the level that Mr. Musk is operating, I can't really respond to that.
If someone who's up, are you concerned about the blowback? He's warning you guys.
Manu, you ought to know I don't worry about blowback. I do policy I believe in, move forward, and expect to get elected.
And that Senator Tom Tillis is up for re-election. Could be a tough race in North Carolina next year. He's going to be one of the votes.
Well, because Elon will primary him?
To watch here, but there's some of those more conservative members who are still opposed to this bill. Senator Ron Johnson just told me moments ago that he is opposed to this bill. Senator Rand Paul also is opposed. There are a handful of other some of the other side, the more moderate senators like Lisa Murkowski, who has raised concerns, wants changes to this bill. So a lot of work needs to be done to get this to the president's desk by their goal of July 4th.
And you have to think some Republican lawmakers running.
Genuinely, I do not see how that happens. I do not see how that happens. If the Senate starts making changes to the bill, it's going to take way the fuck longer than July 4th to get through. But I don't see the Senate voting it through in its current form. Well, your CNN stream's ahead of mine. It's not a stream. I'm just looking at the recording. They can make changes before July 4th. Theoretically, they could. In practice, they won't. There's no way. Now, 1 second.
Phone's on your bed.
Oh, wonderful. Tell her I say hi. Cute cat moment. I missed it because I was here celebrating the end of the Elon Musk-Donald Trump bromance. Which would be ironic since Schumer sold his soul to Republicans for a yes vote and funded the government, only for it to close down now. Yeah, what's the shutdown date is later in July, right? The 4th is when Donald Trump wants the bill out because it's July 4th. But like when is the shutdown? Or is it in August, not July? Not a shutdown, it's the default date? Default date. What if the US defaults? That would be wacky. Yeah, here we go. The X date, when the US government could default on its debt obligations, is currently projected to be in August or September 2025. Well, they're not going to have a problem raising the debt limit. I'm talking about like the total big beautiful bill. You know? They're definitely not going to get the fucking July 4th threshold in.
White House and congressional officials are working to wrap up and approve the budget package that is central to the president's agenda. They're hoping to do all of that by Independence Day. But how likely is it that Republicans will actually reach that deadline? Well, Republican Oklahoma Senator James Lankford answered that question and many others while speaking to our own Major Garrett in Arizona last week.
On reconciliation, it's still early, but it's also kind of late. Yeah. July 4th is looming.
Either they pass it and raise the limit or we default. Well, if they send it back to the House with edits and it takes too long, they would probably just pass a separate bill raising the debt limit.
I've covered a lot of
which they don't want to do, but they could do it if they needed to, right?
Reconciliations bills, more than you voted on.
Right. Right.
And the first go round, it's imperative. It always passes. We don't know how it passes, but it always passes.
Gets done.
This will get done. Do you have some must-haves that have to be in?
Yeah, I do have multiple must-haves that have to be there. I think we'll get done not by July 4th. I think it's going to be by the end of July. July 4th is a nice optimistic goal on it, very patriotic goal, but I think it's going to be the end of July before we can actually get it finished. There's still a lot of undone. To me, the must-haves, we have to find ways to reduce spending. We have to. We're $2 trillion in overspending. we all kind of nod our head and say, yeah, it's overspending. Let's find a way to slow it down. We have to find a way to slow this down. We've had several years in a row where we've had multi-trillion dollars of overspending in a year.
Beyond what DOGE has so far.
Correct. I mean, there are aspects
suggested it's accomplished.
There are aspects that DOGE can take on, but that will be in the tens to 100 billion range. We've got to be larger than that to be able to slow down our spending.
Looking back on the compromise you forged on immigration.
Unfortunately, this is probably just going to, like, the Democrats aren't going to fix this. There's no fucking way, right? There's no way the Democrats fix this. The Democrats will never muster the political will to tax the way they would need to fix this.
Yeah. Do you think we'd be better off if that had happened? Or are we better off now that it didn't happen and we just have a different president?
No, we do have a different president that's using the same law that's been there for decades and actually enforcing it, and we're seeing very different outcomes. Thinking about the bill that passed, it should have passed. It would have fixed a lot of the loopholes that are in the law, and it would have been easier to be able to do enforcement now. Because one of the challenges that we have is our asylum laws do include a lot of loopholes in them that cartels have exploited.
Yeah. Hey, Elon's alive. He retweeted something. Elon's stance is principled. Trump's stance is practical. Tech needs Republicans for the present. Republicans need tech for the future. Drop the tax cuts, cut some pork, get the bill through. Uh-oh. Is Elon coming down from the high? Is he backing off? Is he going... He's going from the classic post-video of Trump partying with Epstein to claiming that we just need to meet in the middle? We'll see.
Still love Trump, and I really like Elon. This is just a really crappy scenario right now, and I really hope these two can patch these things up, because I think Elon took a low blow by tweeting that, quote, DJT was on the Epstein client list. I mean, something that he knows can't be immediately verified. Also, if Trump was on that island doing something illegal, after all the legal battles that Biden threw at him, if he had done something illegal with Jeffrey Epstein, you would think they would have thrown that at him, no? They pulled out.
This is the reason why the right can never be authentic when they do Epstein conspiracy posting. Even if they're telling the truth from their perspective, they don't understand the nature of the game at all. They have no idea what they're talking about.
Out the stops on everything else. The only thing we can point to that was a known associate.
Pulled out all the stops. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh yeah, man. Merrick Garland? That was about the most punitive behavior I've ever seen from an AG.
With Epstein was that he was at his club once. And by the way, Trump kicked him out of that club because of reported bad behavior. And also, Elon, if you knew he was on the Epstein client list, why did you let him board Marine One with your son? Just asking. But the best thing for Trump to do now is to release the list, something that
that's a good point.
Also our FBI and Pam Bondi have promised us. Still love Trump.
You're never getting that goddamn list, man. It's never happening. Do these people actually believe Trump is innocent in this? I think it depends on how, like, far down the rabbit hole you are. I do think, though, that for a lot of, especially, like, higher up Republicans, they're fully aware of the fact that Trump is a pedophile who partied with Epstein, and they are just fine with that because they know that's, like, the privilege of power. That's half of the reason they fought for it, too. And they only invoke it cynically. I'm sure most Trump supporters, like regular people Trump supporters, think that it's all made up. I mean, the information environment is fucked now, right? Like, it's really, really, really bad. Who knows what information they're getting or, you know, how much they even know. Many of these deep rural voters do effectively see Trump as a messianic figure. Yeah, I would say so. Going through? Oh, wait, 1 second. Okay, you can go through. Guys, I'm trying to think right now about, because the main thing that I want to cover is this breakdown, is this fall apart. Would you guys be mad at me if I popped up later tonight? There we go. No? The implication to that meaning that I'd go now. I'm gonna go and get, like, 8 liters of coffee. Promise you're coming back? I do normally lie about that. I do say, like, I'll be here later, and then I don't. I'll be sleeping? Damn, that sucks for you. Actual daily lie. Yeah. I thought your car was still in the shop. Yeah, I can walk to a coffee place. Don't ask chat's permission for shit. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm tired, so as a consequence of that, you know, my brain is running slower, you know? And I'm doing weak cucked shit, like implying that I care about your opinion. No, it's fine. Yeah, I'll see you later then. No, that's fine. I'll read the donos later. No, I'm not. I can just do it. It's